Sparks, how's it going?
Please note interpreters will not be provided for any
Setting
language.
everything up right now.
Please make arrangements with
sure
a friend or family member to interpret for you. Additional time will be provided. Spanish letters may be submitted in advance for translation to the speaker card email address. Si desea hacer un comentario, por favor llene una tarjeta y lo manda al correo electrónico bphackerds@cdcr.gov. La tarjeta está disponible en nuestro sitio web al cdcr.ca.gov/.
What is this? If you're not tapping, you're not napping. You must be napping.
Quien quiera puede asistir y hacer comentarios. Si quiere
this is going to be an embankment hearing for the state of California.
O póngalo su
If you were here yesterday, it's going to be kind of be the same thing.
También puede llamar al 916-322-4752 y dejar la siguiente información: su nombre, o diga anónimo, su número de teléfono o los últimos 2 números, su organización, el nombre y el número del caso, si está de acuerdo con o en contra del caso, su relación al caso, si es pariente, abogado, fiscal o víctima. Cuenta que no proveemos intérpretes para ningún idioma. Por favor, haga arreglos con un amigo o familiar que le pueda servir de intérprete.
Thank you, Heather. Highly appreciate that.
Cartas en español pueden mandarse por adelantado al mismo correo electrónico al cual se mandan las tarjetas.
Hey, gracias. Highly appreciate that, Heather. Appreciate it. So I'm running multiple streams right now. I got 2 on TT and we got 2 on YT. Was anybody interested in the outcomes for yesterday? Possibly you missed the outcomes.
If you wish to speak, please complete a fillable speaker card and send to bph.
Hey, thank you, Sadie. Thank you. Appreciate the follow.
At cdcr.ca.gov. The speaker card is available on the board's website.
I didn't get it.
At cdcr.ca.gov.
So what ended up happening yesterday? Hey, what's up, Cha-Cha?
Completing the form is voluntary.
Thank you,
All persons may attend the meeting and make comments.
Yes, interesting.
If you wish to remain anonymous, enter anonymous next to the speaker name on the speaker card.
So what ended up happening was everybody got approved.
Your call-in number,
Everybody's going home as of right now, unless the governor takes their data away.
You may also call
If the governor takes the data away, then obviously they're not going to go home right now. But eventually,
to register your
that guy Leslie, he had been found. He's been found suitable before. I found
your telephone number or last 2 digits.
A hearing from 2018 where he was. The same thing happened. He got approved. The governor took his date. Then he went in front of the bank hearing, and they took his date away. So
Identify
it
yourself
looks like he's been struggling for years to try to get out, but they're not letting him. So hopefully we'll see what happens, because he
anonymous or other.
If the governor doesn't take his data away within the next 5 days, he'll be out in 5 days. So let me see, he'll be 5 business days, I think. So it would be yesterday was Wednesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Spanish letters
Monday, Tuesday.
In advance
so he might be out on Tuesday.
Speaker card email address.
They might take it away. That is correct. Yeah, that is a possibility. All right, looks like they're getting ready. Hey, M-Star, can you hear me? Just wanted to confirm if you could hear me. Welcome, and welcome if you could hear me. If you can't hear me, then you can't hear me say welcome. You could give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Can you guys hear me over here? Loud and clear, homie. Hey, gracias. Highly appreciate that. All right, I got to make sure my audio is working.
Are we ready?
What up, Alexis?
We are. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Scott
Thank you.
Wyckoff,
Thank you,
Executive
Cindy.
Officer for the Board of Parole
Thank you,
Hearings. Thank you for being with us today, and welcome to the Board of Parole Hearings monthly Executive Board meeting. We are hosting this meeting in person and by video and telephone using Microsoft Teams. We have a majority of commissioners in person for this meeting as required by law. For those participating by video, if you experience connectivity issues during the meeting, we have found that turning off your camera may help you see and hear those who are speaking and help us hear you when you are speaking. If you wish to speak today, we ask that you please fill out a speaker card on the board's website under the tab called Board Meetings and the link called Meeting Agendas. We will also provide an opportunity for those who have not submitted a speaker card to comment. You can find additional documents with helpful instructions and tips for participating in today's meeting on the board's website. Just go to the tab at the top called Board Meetings and select the link for Meeting Agendas. There is also a helpline available during the meeting if you are experiencing difficulties. Please call 916-445-4072. The phone number is also on the first page of today's agenda and the agenda page of the board's website. If no one immediately answers your call, please leave a message. Someone will return your call as quickly as possible. Most commissioners and board staff use computers to take notes during the meeting, so please do not be concerned if a commissioner is looking at their computer while someone is speaking. We ask that you please mute your computer microphone or phone. If you do not mute yourself, a moderator will mute you to eliminate feedback and background noise. Your comments are important to us, and we want to hear from everyone. For this reason, comments may only be made after the moderator calls a speaker's name or identifies them by their login credentials. We will call the cases in the order they are listed on the agenda. Once a speaker is called upon, they will be able to unmute their microphones to make a comment. Please be respectful and refrain from engaging in disruptive behavior, or you may be removed from the meeting. Please note that some speakers may include explicit crime details in their statements during this meeting. This could trigger strong reactions or be difficult to hear for some people and is not appropriate for children. Written statements may be submitted to the email address on the agenda, and written statements are considered the same as oral comments. All comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. We ask that you please be respectful of the time limits. Also, if you timely submitted a written statement to the board, the commissioners will consider it. For this reason, you are encouraged to reference your written statement and use your time today to provide additional information as needed. Once the board has heard comments on each case on the agenda, the board will go into closed session to deliberate and vote on each case. Board staff will post the decisions for today's cases within 24 hours in the lobby on the ground floor of the board's office at 1515 K Street, Sacramento, and on the board's website. I will now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Long.
Good morning, everybody. Today is February 20th, 2025. The Board of Parole Hearings Executive Board meeting is now reconvened. I will now call roll for the commissioners participating in public comment, deliberations, and voting on the cases on today's agenda. The chairperson is present. Commissioner Dobbs. Commissioner Garland.
Present.
Commissioner Minor.
What up?
Present.
What up?
Present.
Commissioner Dudin.
Present.
Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
Present.
Commissioner Sharif.
Present.
Commissioner Sheffield.
Here.
Present.
Commissioner Tyra.
Present.
Right here.
Commissioner Thornton.
Present.
Right here.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Please note for the minutes that the majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person at 1515 K Street in
Present.
Sacramento.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Long, just Commissioner Dobbs is present for the record.
Oh, she is. Okay, good.
Hey, and if sharing this, Karen, if you guys could share this stream
We will now hear comments regarding
with the
cases
ones
on
you
today's
love,
agenda.
with the ones you
For
don't
each
love,
case,
just
first we
share
will
it.
take comments from those in support of the incarcerated person. Excuse me, starting with speakers cards, and then those who did not submit a speaker card. Then we will take
We
comments from
are
those in
here.
opposition to the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards and then calling for those who did not submit a speaker card. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. There is no rebuttal. If you are speaking, please eliminate any background noise. The moderator will then call your name or identify you by your phone number when it is your turn. Your 2 minutes begin when you start to speak. The first case today is Clemente Carbajal, CDCR number G as in golf 15330, item 27. Moderator, please call this for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson.
If you would like to speak in support of Clemente Carvajal and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Clemente Carvajal, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Clemente Carvajal? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Clemente Carvajal.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Clemente Carvajal.
Thank you.
I want to speak.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Clemente Carvajal and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and we'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Clemente Carvajal, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
You gotta press *6. *6 in the chat, please.
Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition to Clemente Carvajal? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Clemente Carvajal.
Thank you. The next case is George Christian, CDCR number A is in Apple and is in Nancy 3751, item 28. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We do have a number of speaker cards. The first is Chinetta Christian. Chinetta, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
California, Sacramento.
Chinetta, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We will circle back to Chinetta. Wanda Gooch. Wanda, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, did anybody catch the name of the individual?
Wanda, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
To the Honorable Commissioners of this Parole Board, first of all, I would like to thank the Commissioners for allowing me to speak in regards to George Christian.
George Christian, okay.
My name is Wanda Gooch, and the mother of George Christian. George is the eldest of my 3 children, and I'm a retiree of Pacific Bell / SBC for over 25 years of service, and also a retired caregiver for over 10 years. George is a caring son and a wonderful big brother to his younger brother and sister. After the breakup with me and George's father, I was very dependent on him to help me with his siblings. Being a single mother, caring for 3 children wasn't that easy while working for a company that was very strict on attendance, which caused me not to be available for my children as I would have liked to be.
Don't blame yourself.
It wasn't easy. We were living in Sacramento, and their father was in San Francisco, so I depended on family and friends whenever they were available for help. And then things began to change, much more than I was able to keep up with. And his father didn't come around that much, and things started falling apart. I found out afterwards that George had been talking to his friends about his feelings about the changes in the family and how it was affecting him. George has always been known to be a respectful, compassionate, very caring, gentle person with deep concerns for the less fortunate. I've watched my son over the years grow up to be a very mature and impressive young man with desires to better himself. George talks about how much immature actions has caused him so much pain for the family. And
your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
George talks about how immature his actions has caused and much for our family. George now has a son and takes his fatherhood seriously and plays an active role with his son. And wants well for his sons, to let him know how remorseful he is being in this position, and he doesn't want him to repeat the same mistakes just to end up where he is today. He wants to make right his wrongs. Since being incarcerated, George has continued with education and is more than halfway through his canine specialist course at Stratford Career University. My primary focus is now to be of support for him,
You guys ain't right.
along with his father and family, in regards to his accommodations, to accommodate him to ensure him a thriving environment for any personal needs, costs, as well as his social needs. I would like to thank the commissioner.
Thank you, ma'am. Your 2 minutes have elapsed. We appreciate your comments.
Shh, they let her go for a bit.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Brandon Claypool. Brandon, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
Brandon Claypool.
Brandon, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Brandon, get yourself on
We'll
mute.
circle
Brandon.
back to Brandon. Jonathan Hampton. Jonathan, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute. Jonathan, if you're
California.
speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back. Kobe Thompson. Kobe Thompson, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone. Kobe, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Okay, next is George Christian Jr.
Yeah, they didn't come
George,
over
if you're
today.
speaking, we cannot hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes? Yes, we can. Go ahead.
I am the father of George, Christian III. Because I was in his life. And I was in San Francisco working hard. Things went sideways, and one thing led to another. He ended up incarcerated, you know. But yeah, I do have support for him. I'm here for him when he get out. I have, I'm retired. I'm working 32 years in the city. And yes, I'm here whenever. And thank you for letting me speak. It's the best I can do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to circle back to Chinetta Christian. Chinetta, are you with us? Go ahead.
Shanetta, what up, Shanetta? Are you ready or what?
Chinetta, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Oh, it's
Go
about
ahead.
time.
My name is Shanetta Christian. I am here to express my unwavering support for my husband, George Christian, who is appearing before you all for consideration of parole. Over the years, I've witnessed a profound transformation in him that I believe merits your attention. When George first entered the system, he faced numerous challenges and made choices that led him down a difficult path. However, during the time of incarceration, he has taken significant steps to change his life. Through participation in classes that focuses on areas such as criminal gang membership, anonymous,
CGA,
anger management, and alternative to violence projects, survivor sensitivity, and victim impact. He has developed a deeper understanding of himself and the impact of his actions on others. This transformation has not only changed his outlook on life, but has also positively influenced those around him. He has become a role model for fellow inmates and our children who have been impacted by peer pressures in society, often sharing his experiences and encouraging them to pursue their own paths towards rehabilitation. His commitment to personal growth is evident in his completion of educational and vocational achievements such as DEFI Ventures, Stratford Career Institute with the Canine Specialist, and Pause for Life rescue programs. George has also did charitable events with American Cancer Walk for cancer awareness, and Feed the Children for hunger awareness. As his partner, I have seen the dedication he has put into becoming a better person.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
He is now more empathetic, responsible, and motivated to contribute positively to society. I genuinely believe that he has the tools necessary to succeed once released. Reuniting George with me and the rest of his family not only
They're not playing today.
Thank you. I'd like to give him a chance to Brandon Claypool.
Brandon, can you hear
Brandon
us?
Claypool. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Brandon, where you at? Brandon?
And another chance for Jonathan Hampton. Jonathan Hampton, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hey, thank you, Bless, for life. Highly appreciate that.
And once more for Kobe Thompson.
What up, Randy? How's it going? And welcome, everybody.
Kobe Thompson, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. If you would like to speak in support of George Christian and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
What was that? That's the Boost Mobile.
If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of George Christian, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of George
like that
Christian?
Name. Like that name, FYA. Hey, thank you for
that. Oh, go ahead.
Excuse me. Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Brandon Claypool.
Ooh, damn.
I'm part of the union, Aquatic Amigo 1245, Brotherhood Electrical Union. I'm speaking on behalf of George Christian.
Hey, look up this name, Robert Glenn Cole.
Yes,
that
go ahead.
George Christian transformed his life from an antisocial, isolated mindset to a positive, pro-social individual dedicated to growth and helping others. Once disconnected and withdrawn, he made a conscious effort to change, embracing accountability and personal development. That community involvement, now he thrives daily by making amends with his past, uplifting those around him, and serving as a mentor and role model. Through resilience and determination, George Christian turned his struggles into a source of strength, proving that change is possible with the right mindset and commitment to do better. Thank you. I appreciate it.
33. So my apologies. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking at the people that are coming up.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of George Christian?
I'm looking up the people.
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of George Christian.
Thank you,
Cole,
we will now take speakers in opposition to George Christian.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have Dean Archibald, DDA of Sacramento County. Dean, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak, sir.
Yep. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners. Dean Archibald, Deputy District Attorney, Sacramento County District Attorney's Office. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. People submit Mr. Christian is someone who is not suitable for parole. He was given a high-risk evaluation by the psychologist who reviewed his case, which doesn't necessarily mean that he is unsuitable for parole, but I think that report highlighted a lot of reasons that Mr. Christian is unsuitable for parole. Key among those issues, his gang involvement, his serious and recent RVRs, his substance abuse. All those issues are intertwined, and while Mr. Christian may, and this is part of the problem, a lot of what Mr. Christian seems to be doing is, or trying to do, is unclear, and how much of it is real, and how much he is still actually connected to the gang, the Bloods. He claims that he is disassociated, but then Mr. Christian told the doctor that he's someone who really, he kind of moved in and out of the gang, and he was sort of separating, and he has separated, but he's still sort of connected to him, and that's really indicative right there of a lack of understanding on Mr. Christian's part of that, getting away from the gang is not merely something he sort of says he does. He needs to make that huge mental change of having that gang outlook, which allows him or drives him to commit the RVRs and be involved in substance abuse, both personally and in terms of selling drugs in prison. Overall, Mr. Christian is someone whose thought processes have not matured enough to really take the steps he needs to do. He's probably not been looking at all the evidence entirely forthcoming about all those issues. He's actually a portrait of instability still, and given that, he's going to be unpredictable and still dangerous. This is someone who, when you add it all up, has not made sufficient changes to justify being found.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed, sir. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. And therefore, we would urge that the panel rescind Mr. Christian's grant parole and deny parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to George Christian and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to George Christian, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to George Christian?
These are different people these are not the same people as
Is there
yesterday.
anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about George Christian?
You gotta press *6.
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for George Christian.
The next case is Anthony Lyons. CDCR number is an Echo 46187, item 29. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. The first speaker card we have is for Martha Lyons. Martha, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Everybody got approved for yesterday. I forgot to post it. I did
Martha, if you're with us, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Martha. Yolanda Hopkins.
Lonnie?
Yes?
Yes.
Where's that voice coming from? She didn't turn off her stream.
You may have to turn your speakers off, ma'am.
Martha's messing up the stream.
Go ahead,
over
your
here.
2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. All right, we'll go back to Yolanda Hopkins. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
You told her to turn off her sound.
Moving on to LaDonovan Owens.
Pues.
Go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. LaDonovan, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
This is LaDonovan Owens. I'm Anthony's nephew.
He's not out yet, though.
And I just like to say that Anthony is a wonderful person. I truly believe that he needs a second chance at his parole.
What does he do, running?
Anthony has helped me in so many ways. I too was incarcerated, and by chance meeting, I was in intake.
Smokey while testifying.
San Quentin Institution. I was incarcerated in 2009. During intake, I was in San Quentin and was able to see my uncle for a brief moment. And although I could see the disappointment in his eyes, he still greeted me with a big smile and loving embrace. Of course, it was a hard talk, followed because he never wanted to see me in the prison system like him. I was released from prison August 2011 and have not been back since because of the love and support of our family, including him. He is definitely not the same addict he was that led him to prison, and I feel that if given a second chance, he can do the same. Anthony is a fun-loving, God-fearing person who is nonviolent and has taken the steps and finished different programs to be acclimated back into our society. I implore you to please grant parole for Anthony. He has taken accountability for all his crimes, and after serving 27 years, deserves a second chance. And his testimony and his wisdom could help other young people.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Next.
Anthony's a good guy, and I just ask that you give him a second chance. I implore you guys, please grant his parole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what up, Bliss?
Diane Moore. Diane Moore, are you with us? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Anthony
or
does
press
have
*6 by telephone.
He does have a lot of family backing, though. I will say that. A lot of times you come.
I see we have a hand up for Katrina Williams. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
And nobody shows
Your
up.
2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
I don't know how to work these salads. I can't even get mine on.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Katrina, and Anthony, he's my uncle. I'm requesting a parole release due to he has overpaid his dues to society. He has been in prison for 28 years for crimes that were all nonviolent.
Oh, nonviolent.
He's up in age now. His health is diminishing. He's a gentle person. He's not a threat whatsoever to anyone. And any more time incarcerated will not just be a suffering to him, but also a suffering to our family as a whole. And just for the record, I wanted it to be known that he already has over $5,000 signatures for his release on a petition for the governor. And I just hope that you guys just release him because he's a good man. That's it.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
This is Diane Moore. How are you?
Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, I first of all submitted a letter, so you should have a letter on file explaining everything about my brother. I'm one of his older sisters, and Anthony is a loving person, and also he has been in 12-step programs. I have been working the steps with him. He is definitely taking accountabilities of his crimes he's committed in the past and want to start fresh and be an asset to society. And I'm just asking that you would consider him for parole. And I appreciate all that you guys are doing. I was in meeting for several hours yesterday, and my heart went out to the panel that you had to listen to all the gruesome testimonies and oppositions, and I just understand your job is a tough job, but I just pray that you would consider Anthony for parole. Thank you.
Hey, you gotta clean your camera, lady.
Thank you. I'd like to give one more chance to Martha Lyons.
Get all that face grease off of your camera.
Martha Lyons, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or press *6 by telephone.
Hello, my name is Martha. I'm Martha Lyons. I'm Anthony's mother. I'm requesting and praying that y'all will let my son come home before my days are gone. I'm 91 years old, and I want so much to see my son. I thank you. I really, really admire you, Hannah, because of the things that we sit through yesterday are slow. It's just heartbreaking. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to give another chance to Yolanda Hopkins. Go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
91 years old?
Hi, how you doing?
Go ahead.
My name is Yolanda Hopkins, and I'm Anthony's older sister. And
Anthony.
I think Anthony has, I believe in my heart that Anthony has gotten stronger in his ways of thinking and more wiser as his age has gone on. As I myself and us as a family understand that the strength that's needed to move forward and to be able to name things as to what that situation is and call it for what it is and find the help that's needed to strengthen one another and moving forward in life and keeping ourselves strong with one another. We are a unified family, and I'm believing that when Anthony comes home that we can come together and move forward. He has a place to stay, a number of places to stay. Finances should be absolutely no problem for him. As far as us coming together financially and also helping find jobs and stuff, our support system is stronger now. So I really hope and pray that you guys would take him in consideration and let him come home.
She didn't do her makeup.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Anthony Lyons and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Anthony Lyons, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
If you guys could do me a favor, if you guys could share.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Anthony Lyons?
I'm Gwen Lyons, his oldest sister. I'm the oldest out of the clan. And I just want to say that Anthony has gotten stronger in his rehab, in his spirit, and he has a very big support group. His family, we feed the homeless once a month. We have a cover me program where we give out coats and gloves, and we discuss this with Anthony. He seems very anxious about getting involved. We have he's very good in plastering and building things. We have projects at home for him to do, and we keeping him occupied. And we pray that you can find it in your spirit to release him and let him come home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Anthony Lyons?
That camera just gave me vertigo. I was about to throw up right now. I was about to barf. Hey, Dan, thank you.
Hello.
Appreciate the like.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. This is Anthony Lyons' youngest sister. My name is Sherry Lyons. I just want to say that my big brother is, not the person he was. Through circumstances, it led him down the wrong path. But after almost 30 years, his head is on straight.
30 years?
He suffered illnesses in there. He has a heart condition, diabetes. I just pray that you allow him to come home so he'll have a fighting chance for his life. And I just want to let you know that he has a ton of support, as you'll see in the letters that we sent you. And it's just my prayer that you allow him parole.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Anthony Lyons?
Dan, so this is an in-bank hearing. So these are...
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Anthony Lyons.
This is for people that have found suitable?
We will now take speakers in opposition to Anthony Lyons.
Hold up.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Anthony Lyons and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
He's from Fresno. Somebody's going to show up.
If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Anthony Lyons, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
Is the DA going to show up?
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Anthony Lyons?
Anthony Lyons from Fresno, California. I looked
Is
it up.
there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Anthony Lyons?
You're welcome, Randy.
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Anthony Lyons.
The next case is Judge Roberts, CDCR number T59722, item number 30. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Judge Roberts and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
I don't think I could find.
If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Judge Roberts, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
His name is. It's confusing.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Judge Roberts?
So his first name is Judge. That's his legal name.
For Judge Roberts.
You go ahead.
My name is Curtisia Roberts, and I'm his wife. Today I would like to speak on the behalf of Judge Roberts, which is my husband. My husband has learned from his mistakes and is ready for a fresh start. Judge has worked hard, has become better person and change. He has become a better person and change. Our family loves and support him and will help him stay on the right path. We just ask for a chance to move forward together. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Judge Roberts?
He's from LA County, so the DA might be showing up for Judge Roberts. So his first name is
Chairperson, there
Judge.
could be no more speakers in support of Judge Roberts.
Good thing his last name wasn't
Moderator will now
Dredd.
take speakers in opposition to Judge Roberts.
If not, his name would have been Judge Dredd.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Judge Roberts and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
Is the LA County DA?
If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Judge Roberts, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. I see we have Julianne Walker. Go ahead, ma'am. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Julianne Walker. Is this the same lady from yesterday? Is she from the DA's office?
Ma'am, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. You might have to rejoin the meeting, perhaps?
Something slowing us down over here.
I think she's going to try to rejoin the meeting.
Hey, thank you for sharing. Aiden,
I believe that was
Krista,
DDA.
and another person. I didn't catch the other
Do you
name.
want me to wait for her, sir?
No, go ahead. See if there are others.
If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Judge Roberts, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
This isn't a parole hearing. This is for people that got found
Is
suitable.
there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Judge Roberts?
And the governor took their data away. He took away their
Is there
suitability.
anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Judge Roberts?
So now the parole board has to decide whether they're going to let them out or not.
Other than Julianne Walker, I don't believe there are any other speakers for Judge Roberts.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Juan Montoya, CDCR number V33622, item 31. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
The first speaker we have for Montoya is Lorenzo Flores. Lorenzo Flores, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so I'm also a former lifer. I knew Juan Montoya in Lancaster ARPP, Progressive Programming Facility. We were in the Paso Life program. I got to meet him and got to know him personally. I was a training instructor for the program, and he took instruction. He took instruction very well. I seen him grow. I seen him go take all his classes for rehabilitation, and he really excelled. He excelled in the program, and he has a very good work ethic, and his personality and his character are high and above. And a lot of us, were going home from that yard. And he from the Paso Life program, and I believe he got transferred to a level 2, and I've heard a lot of good things, that he was excelling also on these other places, and I believe that he is his suitability is correct, and he has a network out here. I'm also a service dog trainer out here.
Whose dog is barking?
I work for Aero Piston Dog Training and Love His Dogs Foundation. I work with the USC Post Conviction Project, going back into the prisons. So he has a job with me. He also has a place to live. I know he'll be out here in transitional housing, so we have everything ready for him. He has a big support network out here with family, friends, and the lifer network we have out here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hot Mess Express.
The next speaker card I have is from Matthew Bleeker. I see that you're here with your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners.
We got Matthew.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I met Juan Montoya back in 2018 at Lancaster A Yard in the Paso Live program. When I first met Juan, I was a mentor in the program, and when guys come in, we have to teach them, obviously, how to start training dogs. So I built a fast friendship with Juan Montoya. He was a guy that when I first met him, he didn't even, he was working on his GED, was a little insecure in social settings as far as communicating with others. And it comes to realize that now that upon his release, he will be finishing his bachelor's of communications from Cal State. So his desire to put himself in positions where he can grow and excel has been demonstrated. He was also very integral at implementing and getting together a dog program at the Folsom facility where he was at, which obviously you have to gain some type of trust with custody staff to be able to be the liaison between incarcerated individuals and staff as well. I just ask that you guys affirm what the panel already decided, what they saw on him that day, and just affirm his suitability, and to know that he has a very, very strong support network with all of us that are formerly incarcerated, that are out still doing, trying to give back, and still in the rehabilitative space. So I just ask that you guys affirm him, and I can't wait for him to come home. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Chris Murray. Chris Murray, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here in strong support of Juan Montoya's suitability and affirming that decision. I've known Juan for about 8 years now, and I had the good fortune of being one of his training partners also while I was in the Pause for Life program on the Progressive Programming Facility in Lancaster. As a team member, which slowly transitioned into a great friendship, Juan was always very encouraging to me, despite our circumstances of incarceration. He has shared things revolving around spiritual growth, accountability, remorse, and so many other things that helped me personally grow as an individual. On top of that, one big thing that has always stuck with me is an indicator, a strong indicator of the caliber of his personality and who he really is today. And that was when he was told that he was going to be transferred from the Progressive Programming Facility to a Level 2 yard, which many of us, of course, afraid of change, did not want, because we were comfortable there. We had a great program going on. And I was concerned for him, and I asked him, what are you going to do when you get there if it's a terrible place? And what he told me was, Chris, you know what, Bubba, this is life's journey, and if this is where it's going to take me, I'm going to make that place better. And he has. From the last speaker, he helped to implement a dog program up there that can bring a little bit of empathy, can bring some sense of responsibility and growth for people that were on that facility. Juan did that. This is the person that you guys found suitable. He's an amazing individual. He's definitely turned his life around, and he helped me to do the same while I was incarcerated. I ask that you please give weight to these things, and please affirm your decision of suitability. Thank you.
Thank you. I see we have a hand up for Thyson Nwand. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Tyson Nguyen, and I would also like to, support Juan's coming home, and for you guys to affirm his suitability. Like many of the men that spoke before me, I've known Juan for the better part of 7 years. We met each other at Lancaster Prison, where we were part of the PPF yard, the Progressive Programming Yard. And Juan has been a great friend to me. He has been a wonderful mentor, and we have been able to, grow together as human beings. And I've learned from him, many different ways to process the interactions that I have with other people. He has contributed greatly to my growth as a person. And upon his release, I just wanted to let this honorable board know that he will have, a wonderful support system, not just with me, but with everybody else that has spoken before me and will speak after me. I work with a financial advisor who we are setting up for him to gain employability if he so choose to, because I know he has a lot of support out here, so he will have a large variety of employment opportunities out here. We also go to we have the same alma mater in Cal State LA, where our director, Tapney Lim, will extend all the resources of our university to him as well. So with that said, I just want to convey my strong affirmation for y'all to have Juan come home, so that way he can.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Bigger, grander way.
Hey, Bobby, thank you for sharing. Highly appreciate that.
I see we have another hand up for Bonnie Vidal. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
The next
You're still showing is muted, Bonnie?
Hey, the next case that's coming up.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm actually here for Ernie, the victim in this matter. I'm opposing his parole. And
you'll have an opportunity to speak in just a moment when we go to the opposition.
Okay.
Right now is support. Thank you.
Well, we got some
if you would like to speak in support of Juan Montoya and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
Hey, Buck, they haven't said
anything yet. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Juan Montoya, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Oh, I see we have someone at the podium.
Oh, in-person speaker we got here. Let me fix this up here so you guys.
Oh, sir, you have to hit the button there on the microphone to unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi,
my name is Antonio Calles. I first came in contact with Juan Montoya in Folsom State Prison when he applied for membership at the Old Folsom State Prison Gavel Club. Some of the inmates in the population believe that the Gavel Club discriminates against who it lets in and does not. In a way, we do. I call it discernment. If we find out that any potential member who is applying to our club is involved in any kind of criminal activity, he does not get in. Whether it's stealing from the kitchen, using or selling drugs, alcohol, dealing in politics, that person does not get into our club. Juan Montoya came to us. He was vetted just like every other member, and he became one of the most esteemed members of that club. He has done very well in that club. His activities has confirmed what kind of character he has. Juan Montoya also has diabetes, which leaves him at a higher risk for what is called auto-brewery syndrome, in which case bacteria in the gut ferments carbohydrates and alcohol, leading to the potential of false positives for alcohol use. Following a family visit, he was administered a regular urine analysis, which does not detect for auto-brewery syndrome. It is out of character for anybody to suggest that Juan Montoya, if you know him, was using alcohol during his stay in Folsom State Prison. It is more likely that auto-brewery syndrome caused a false positive for Juan Montoya following his family visit, in which case I strongly suggest that the BPH uphold its original finding of suitability for parole in Juan Montoya. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe there was someone else who was speaking who wanted to talk.
Sometimes these individuals, they don't have anybody else. Hey, thank you.
I guess
hey,
not.
Southside BK, gracias.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Juan Montoya? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Juan Montoya.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Juan Montoya.
They're probably gonna
We
say
do have a
right
number of speaker cards. The first is Cindy Carrillo. Cindy Carrillo, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Oh, shit.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
We can hear you, Cindy.
My name is Cindy Carrillo. I am the victim's sister. 25 years ago, Mr. Montoya took it upon himself to cause mayhem in our hometown, where he shot several people that night and killed my brother, unfortunately. Shortly after, during trial, he also arranged a drive-by shooting on my house, which had my 2 younger children, my 2 younger sisters, myself, and my mother. He's only served 24 years of his time with my brother's murder. And 13 years of it, he was still gang-related in there. I'm just asking you, please. He's still a danger to society. My nephew will never, ever get to know his father, and his grandchildren will never know their grandpa. My children will never know their uncle. So I am heavily asking you, please do not let him out, because he is a danger to society. Brother also has a very huge support system. And I'm asking you again, please.
Thank you, Marie.
Don't release him. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Ernest Joe Carrillo Jr. Ernest, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
And right here, this is where you get to see the other side of the coin. You know, the family members, the community that's been affected.
My name is Ernest Joe Carrillo III. I'm actually Ernest Joe Carrillo Jr.'s son. I never got to meet my dad, ever since the night Juan Montoya took it upon himself to kill my father for no reason. I never knew about the trials. I never knew what gone on because I was only a year old. As just this year, I found out that he murdered my father, looked him dead in his eyes, and seen the fear and shot at him and killed him for no reason, just because it was something he felt good he wanted to do, and not only for the fact of because he was a product of his environment, and that was the reason of his trauma and the excuse of why the parole board granted it in the beginning, which makes no sense because I lived in the same city he did, and I became a product of my own environment because of him. He left his buddy's shoes at my door, and I walked around in those shoes for years and years and years, and I don't want to do it no more. I try to do better for myself, to make myself better for my kids, and I did. I'm not a product to that environment no more. I didn't let it swallow me up like he did. And I went through the same things he did. And I've seen the same things he did because we grew up in the same city. He doesn't deserve a second chance. He doesn't deserve happiness. He belongs in there forever. And if he wants happiness, if he wants to live better, that's fine. But it belongs in the South because when we want to get that from my dad and want to give it to him, we sit at a graveyard every day. I would go there by myself day and night when the gates are locked and sit there and ask, why did you guys take him? Why did God take him? What did he do? What did I do? And I still sit here with the burden on my heart, having to sit here again, actually knowing what's going on and figuring the puzzle out. And it breaks my heart because it's just so sad that you guys are willing to release someone that's a violent killer. And that's what he is. He's never showed remorse even after 13 years. And yes, he did better the last 11, but it doesn't change that he's never been sorry because he never tried to say sorry or make amends since day one. 5 years later, he tried to attempt and take another life. It never changed.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
At the end of the day, I sit here wishing for my father all the time and every day and just want his happiness and his approval, and I can never get that. Juan shouldn't get the same thing while being outside. If he wants it, he deserves it while he's inside those walls. So please, just keep him in there. He's not good for society or anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker we have is for Cynthia Carrillo. Cynthia, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Sorry to hear that.
My name is Cynthia.
Katrina.
I'm Ernie's mother, and that was on the day that he was killed. That was very tragically for my family to go through. Knowing that, going through the travels and stuff with this Juan Montoya, we found out that he had nervously shot others at the same day as my son. But unfortunately, my son is the one that passed on. Juan Montoya felt that he was a man then I feel that he's a man now to serve his time and not deserve to come out from prison. Yes, he might be doing good, but let him do good in there, because he should have thought about that when he was out here. My son's never going to get that opportunity. He left a wife, and he left a child, and my grandson would never, ever get to know what his father was, except by memories. His children will never know what their grandfather was. Ernie was a lovable person. Ernie has a lot of people that supports him out here also. Juan does not deserve. You never know if he's going to do the same thing at the age that he is. What he done there, it's still mindset in him. He could do whatever he wants. But is it going to bring back my son? No. He didn't ask my son permission if he can kill him. No, he did it. He just thought it was funny, and he thought it was a joke at the time when he was doing all this. What if it wasn't just my son that he killed at night? He could have killed the other ones that he shadowed the victims. Please take into consideration what we went through. Drive-by shootings, name callings in the court from the family, laughing, joking, thinking it was a joke. No, it wasn't. Please, I ask you, do not release this guy. Please, he does not deserve it.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I just want to say that you take it into consideration to what's going on and what we went through, and others that have spoke up about him. They're all from.
Thank you so much for your comments. Your time has elapsed.
Thank you. I have Ernest Carrillo III. I don't know if he's already spoken, but I'd like to give another chance in case that isn't the case.
You know what? I wouldn't be able to cut these people off, especially.
Yes, I already did.
Okay, thank you. Alondra Santana. Alondra Santana, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alondra Santana. I am Ernest Carrillo Jr.'s daughter-in-law, and although I never had the pleasure to meet him, I've had the opportunity to carry his legacy alive for my children. My children will never have the chance to know their grandfather due to Juan Montoya's actions. Seeing my husband and his family relive this horror tragedy affects my family every single year on his passing anniversary day. My daughter was born September 10th, the same day as her grandfather's passing day. And although this should be a happy day, exciting day for her, she carries a burden knowing her grandfather was murdered the same day. It breaks my heart seeing my family, my kids, explaining to them why it's a bittersweet moment for them. So please take my family's pains and griefs and heartaches into consideration to make the right decision. Juan Montoya did not only take someone's life, but continues to cause grief and pain towards my family and my children. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card is from Bonnie Vidal. Bonnie, I see that you're with us and your hand is up. Go ahead.
Hi, it's me again. Sorry. So I'm speaking on behalf of my godson, Ernie, and my best friend, Ernie. Ernie was my best friend in 7th grade, which turned into a big brother. Ernie was my protector. He was always there for me. I spent every day with him until the day he was murdered. After Ernie was taken from me, I turned to drugs and drinking to mask the pain and anger I felt for losing my best friend. Not only did I lose my best friend, my kids did not get a chance to meet who would have been the godfather. Ernie was so excited to have his son. He was so in love with his baby. But that was still taken when baby Ernie was only 15 months old. I had to watch my godson struggle growing up without having his dad there for him. No matter the love or attention I gave to my godson, to take away his burden and his pain that he was robbed from. Ernie was robbed of a chance to raise his son. Maybe Ernie was robbed of a chance to have his dad building his own memories and with his dad. He has to share our memories. The only way he gets to know him is through us, which is not fair to him. My kids were robbed of building memories with their godfather as well.
And for anybody that's aware,
I have worked through therapy for years of trauma and pain that Juan Montoya has caused me and my family as well. Juan Montoya continued with gang activity even after the murder until 2013. He was convicted of attempted murder while in prison. It shows he is a violent person. He has spent half his time in prison doing gang-related activities. I do not feel safe for my godson. I do not feel safe for my family, his family, if he gets released. I don't understand when he gets a second chance at life for committing atrocious crimes. So Ernie living a normal life, his life was taken. So I pray that you guys reconsider releasing him from parole.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you.
Next speaker card I have is for Jonah Palomino. I see you with us. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
So for anybody who was wondering, that wasn't my internet. That was her connection.
You're still showing as muted. There you go.
Hi. My name is Jonna Palomino, and I'm a family friend of Ernest Carrillo. I met Ernie when he was 15 years old, and my niece brought him home to my family, and we adopted him. He became a beloved member of our family. He was goofy, and he was lovable, and he was kind, and he was sweet, and we all fell in love with him. And although that relationship with my niece and him didn't last, he became a part of our family from that day. And he is severely missed each and every day since he's passed. I'm here today to speak for his son, Baby Ernie, who I still call his son Baby Ernie, that he will never know his father. He will never know how much he loved him. He will never know the love that he had for him.
It's tough. It's tough.
I feel like it is unfair that Mr. Montoya gets a chance to come out of prison, has this opportunity, and that he can live his life with his family, and we can't. He took Ernie from us, and we were robbed at the chance to have him in our lives. We do not get to talk to him, nor see him, or will never get in any way to communicate with him ever again, because that was taken from us. And while Mr. Montoya is still able to do these things with his family, he has left a huge void in our lives that will never be filled. I pray that this board will continue to investigate Mr. Montoya's. Although he has done his rehabilitation, and I am all for rehabilitation, I feel Mr. Montoya has not been transparent and forthcoming of other crimes he has committed, and that has not been held accountable. And I feel that he should take accountability for all the things that he's done in his life.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
So I just thank you for your time, and I pray that you will be fair in this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker card I have is for Connie Lasky, DDA of San Bernardino County. Connie, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Oh, in person.
Good morning. The family and friends of Ernie have expressed their concerns better than I ever could. However, the governor expressed the same concerns in his en banc referral that the people expressed in our closing argument at Montoya's parole hearing. This was a senseless gang murder, where the victims were not even part of the rival gang. They were innocent bystanders who had the misfortune to cross paths with the inmate when he was in the mood to commit murder. Even after his random acts of violence sent him to prison for life, the inmate continued to engage in gang activity until 2013, even attempting more murders on behalf of his gang associations. After supposedly leaving his gang and taking a victim's impact course, the inmate continued to have his friends and family put money on the books of other inmates so that he could avoid paying his restitution, continuing to harm his victims decades after the murder and assault. Now, the inmate is engaged in additional institutional misconduct on January 22nd, almost 4 months after a board determined that he was a suitable candidate for parole. As Ms. Norman stated in her closing at the last hearing, if the inmate cannot conform his behavior to the norms expected in the controlled institutional setting, there is no reason to believe that he will be successful on parole. As the clinician opined and the governor emphasized, the inmate's risk for future violence will increase if he resumes his association with negative peers. This inmate has failed to show a lengthy period of positive rehabilitation, and his grant of parole should be rescinded for a new panel to determine if he continues to pose an unreasonable danger to public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lasky. If you would like to speak in opposition to Juan Montoya and are on video, please raise your hand using Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you if your turn to speak. We do have a hand raised for Jason Keck. Go ahead, Jason, and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Yes, Commissioners. I'm an advocate with the DA's office. I just wanted to make note of the fact that I was present with 9 family members here at our office. They're all here out of love and support for the victim, although the majority elected not to make a statement out of difficulty in doing so. They're all very strongly opposed to this parole grant. Thank you.
And the crime happened in San Bernardino County.
If you're on the phone and you would like to speak in opposition to Juan Montoya, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
What up, KC?
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Juan Montoya? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Juan Montoya? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Juan Montoya.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Jose Luis Areola Cruz, CDCR number AM 8217. It's item number 32. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Jose Luis Areola Cruz and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Jose Luis Areola Cruz, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
This guy, he was 39 and
Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of Jose Luis Areola Cruz?
He unalived his 19-year-old girlfriend. He was 39.
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers or no speakers in support of Jose Luis Areola Cruz.
And this happened in 1995.
We will now take speakers in opposition to Jose Luis Areola Cruz.
Yep.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Jose Luis Areola Cruz and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Jose Luis Areola Cruz, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
And they had a 2-year-old daughter together. So he had.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Jose Luis Areola Cruz?
So they had a 2-year-old daughter. So that means that she was possibly 16 or 17.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Jose Luis Areola Cruz? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Jose Luis Areola Cruz.
Thank you. The next case is Robert Coe.
Oh, this was bad.
PCR number
This one is bad.
9600, item number 33. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a speaker for Camille.
Oh, you guys are going to hear. This is bad.
Camille, if you're here, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
This guy, he threw gasoline.
Camille, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
And lit a match.
We'll
doused
circle
the
back to
victim with
Camille.
gasoline.
If you would like to speak in support of Robert Coe
What up,
and are
PC?
on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Robert Coe, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
He doused the victim. He threw gasoline on the victim.
Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of Robert Coe?
Ned, you
I'd
ain't
like to
right,
give one more
Ned.
chance to Camille Jacques or Jack.
Oh, yeah, he lit it. He lit it.
Camille, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Camille Hockey, and I have been working with Robert for approximately the last 3 years. He's been part of our addiction recovery, which is a 12-step program, as well as the emotional resilience program. He's been through these programs more than once, understanding that this is something he's constantly working on and improving and wanting to make better use of his tools. I can say that within this group, he has been consistent, he has participated, and he is very open and clear about his responsibilities, his things that he's had to improve on, and the mistakes that he's made, and the way that he's affected other people. When he speaks about the victims and the people that he's affected by his actions, he takes accountability for it, he remembers them, and he tries to do all that he can. And he even has stated that while he knows he cannot change anything, he can try to take his responsibility to do better, so that way he does not cause any more harm to anyone in the future, including himself, the family, the victims, or the family of the victim. I would also like to say that he is a member of our church, and while I do not have church services with him within the prison system, he will have that support once he comes out. So he will have access to continued addiction recovery programs and groups to keep up his sobriety and his changes that he's made, as well as things for him finding jobs and support from that community as well. Robert is someone who has, I've seen, just in the past 3 years, continue to change and strive to do better. And I would ask that you please approve his parole and allow him the opportunity and the chance to make a difference with the time that he has left. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Robert Coe? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Robert Coe.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Robert Coe.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Robert Coe and are on video, please raise your hands using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Robert Coe, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition to Robert Coe? Is there anyone who wants to speak about Robert Coe?
How does my audio sound?
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Robert Coe.
Does my audio sound like that, or the audio when the people are talking?
Guzman, CDCR number BC 2641, item number 34. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We have a number of speaker cards. The first is for Gloria Villaluz. Gloria, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
I lowered it a bit. Let me know if that fixed it.
My apologies.
Hey, thank player 13. Thank you.
My name is Gloria Villaluz. I'm a mother of Ronald D. Guzman. I'm a retired accountant. I stand before you to speak on behalf of my son. Ronald's crimes were serious and caused the victims terrible pain and trauma. However, his time in prison has been a turning point. It has allowed him to comprehend the magnitude of his offenses and the pain it caused his victims and their families. Ronald knows he has taken full ownership of his action and set forth a clear plan to change, not only on himself, but to the society at large. When Ronald I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Take your time. It's not easy.
When Ronald, upon his transfer to the CDR-CTF, Ronald and 2 inmates had initiated the road to freedom to help themselves and other sex offenders, and to understand, manage their behavior, and to reduce the recidivism. This program has helped Ronald and other over 500 inmates to continue and try for 300 graduates per year. Ronald knows that staying in the right path is a long life process. He is a college graduate with a variety of skills, and that allows him to contribute positively to the society. He has a solid support system in place. I've always told Ronald and other families that he will always hold him accountable. If he is granted parole and does anything to violate his condition, I will report him immediately. I expect him to continue to attend groups of regular basis and to continue and work on himself. To the honorable members of the board, I respectfully ask you to consider Ronald to release. I believe he has shown that he is ready for a second chance, and he is on the path of continue his life journey of self-improvement and amends outside of prison. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Marissa Bailey, I believe also there in person.
Hey, thank you, Ostrich. That gave me a good laugh. Man, I wish I had a 75-inch TV.
She declines to speak at this time.
Okay. Thank you. I have Christine Shields.
Ah, wow.
Christine Shields, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Honorable Board of Parolees. My name is Christine Shield, and I'm Ronald de Guzman's little sister, and I'm here to support his parole. I like to start by saying I didn't like my brother growing up. I found him to be selfish and manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
I was deeply ashamed when he went to prison because I was really ashamed of what he did, and
I don't blame you. I would be ashamed too.
of course I felt the sadness and grief that he brought to his victims as well, because I'm also a victim of sex abuse by my father. I can say that the brother that went to prison is not the same man that he is today. He has shown great remorse for what he has done, acceptance that what he did was wrong, and the damage done to his victims cannot be fixed. He can only now influence others like him to not commit these crimes, which he has done with the program he developed called Road to Freedom. Ronald has clear knowledge of his triggers and a good understanding and a good plan for avoiding them. He has proven his ability to not act on impulses because he frequently stands down from altercations in prison. Our family would definitely hold him accountable to his plan and watch his behavior carefully if you would grant him parole. I am prepared to hold him personally accountable, to hold him to a high standard, give him a moral support and financial support he needs to be a success.
Right.
I please ask you to grant him parole. I have gone from hating him to admiring him for the personal growth he has done and the development he has done for his community. I truly believe he can have something to offer his community by bringing his Road to Freedom program to others. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker card I have is for Thomas Lamphere. Thomas, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
That guy wasn't having altercations in prison. Yeah, right. Lies.
Thomas,
veteran.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
You
right.
Yes, we can.
I'm Thomas Lamphere. I'm a Marine Corps veteran and peer support specialist, a narration therapy provider, and a parole discharge former life work at the Veterans Transition Center of California. Over the past 5 years, I've known Ronald de Guzman, who has been a participant in my narration therapy programs. During that time, I've witnessed Ronald's unwavering commitment to personal growth and accountability. He's not only participated in self-help programs, but has emerged as a very pro-social leader, facilitating challenging yet essential conversations among the incarcerated community. His openness and integrity have inspired many to embark on their own journeys of self-improvement. A testament to his dedication and rehabilitation responsibility is his pivotal role in helping develop and implement the Road to Freedom program. This program offers support and accountability for incarcerated individuals convicted of sex offenses, a group that you well know is often marginalized and stigmatized within the prison system.
Really, you don't
I am committed
say.
to assisting him with system navigation and meeting his parole requirements. He will reside here at the Veteran Transition Center, where we will hold him accountable with structured case management, working with his family to give him the support he needs. I recognize that Ronald's case has undergone extensive review, from the finding of suitability, VPH legal review, the governor's review, and now this hearing. And with respect to this review process, I want to emphasize his demonstration of rehabilitation and readiness for reintegration. He has a profound transformation, evidenced by his leadership in rehabilitation programs. His self-reflection and participation in therapeutic programs has shown genuine remorse and a commitment to making amends. He has actively contributed to the rehabilitation of others, and his involvement in the Road to Freedom program highlights his dedication to facilitating change. Ronald has a structured reintegration plan that involves many components, including the residency here at VTC. He'll be surrounded by a community of fellow veterans who are going to give him support and can relate to the parole conditions that he will be going through. Ronald exemplifies the transformative potential that the correction system aims to recognize. He has confronted his past, embraced personal growth, and dedicated himself to uplifting others. His growth definitely aligns with the principles of rehabilitation. His growth aligns with the principles of the correction system as a whole. I ask the board respectfully to give him due consideration and uphold the decision to grant parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Jenny Nestler. Jenny, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Jenny, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Jenny Nestler is involved with the client situation right now. She would be speaking on behalf of the Veterans Transition Center, just acknowledging that he will be in this program if the decision is upheld.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Reverend Job Miraflor.
That
if
is
you're
correct.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I first met Ronald de Guzman in April of 2007. I was his pastor at that time, and I was there at the arrest of Ronald de Guzman in 2014 as well. I have known him for quite some time as his pastor. I am here today in support of Ronald de Guzman's parole, and I have remained connected with him all of this time that he has been in the prison system.
I wonder why.
I have watched as Ronald de Guzman has done several things that allow me to believe that he has grown as a person quite dramatically. The first is I have seen his level of personal responsibility for his crimes. He has taken full responsibility for what he has done. Second, I have seen his faith change in this. He has expressed to me multiple times his ability or his belief in his ability that he can change. This is a person capable of change. Third, I have seen his commitment to right his wrongs. He is attempting to make the crimes that he has committed, he has attempted to make those right. Number four, I have seen him develop curriculum for sexual addiction there in the California State Prison System. This is going beyond, above and beyond the ordinary. This is a person who is impacting current sexual addiction program within the state of California. And fifth, I have seen that Ronald de Guzman has grown in his vision for his own future. This is a person who has turned the corner and is ready to move forward with his life. Why am I here today? I want to affirm my commitment as his pastor to continue being there
Your
for
2
him.
minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
As his mentor, as his spiritual guide, I believe that this is a person who is ready to accept responsibility and move on. Thank you for your time.
Awa.
Thank you.
Drop one.
The next speaker card is for Joseph Magazzini. Joseph, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
I'll put it up on the screen. I know you guys are asking what this guy did, and it's right there up on the screen.
Joseph, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Oh, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Magazzini. I had the pleasure of representing Mr. de Guzman at
the pleasure
of his suitability hearings.
You're not Carlos Jr.? My pleasure?
To one concern, which was raised in the risk assessment nearly 2.5 years ago about the recency of Mr. de Guzman's commitment to change and rehabilitation. A couple of things about that. Even at the time, the clinician recognized that Mr. de Guzman had immersed himself in self-help and rehabilitative efforts, had appeared on the right track in internalizing his lessons, and ultimately concluded using the instrument that is used for the CRA to determine risk of sex offense that he did not exhibit most of the predictive factors for violent recidivism, even at that time. Since then, we've had 2 hearings, and what I really want to speak to is the quality of Mr. de Guzman's rehabilitation. It's been mentioned multiple times here, but I do want to point out that he was one of the founders of what I believe was the first public Road to Freedom group in the California Department of Corrections, the first person to kind of put himself out there. And as the panel is well aware, to do that at that time, he put himself at tremendous risk, which demonstrates real
what?
Desire to change and rehabilitate himself.
He didn't do that on the main line.
Another thing I
could
want
tell you
to point
that
out
much.
is despite founding that group and facilitating it, he's been a regular participant in a number of groups, addressing a number of areas, which shows that he recognizes his need for ongoing treatment. I'm not sitting here on high as a facilitator. I'm a person who needs intervention in my own life. It shows a level of humility, which demonstrates a commitment to rehabilitation. I asked the panel to look at the plans, the relapse prevention plans, parole plans, all the writing he submitted, which demonstrates substantial internalization and personalization of what is taught in the Road to Freedom. It's far beyond...
The 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I just asked the panel to review how much work he's done in demonstrating that his rehabilitation is sincere and uphold his grant of parole today. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Ronald de Guzman and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Ronald de Guzman, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Ronald de Guzman?
I want the opposition.
There appear to be no more speakers in support of Ronald de Guzman.
I want to hear from the opposition.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Ronald de Guzman.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. There are a number of speaker cards. The first is Matt Caron, DDA of Contra Costa County. Go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
What up, little
boy? Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Matt Caron. I'm a deputy district attorney in Contra Costa County.
Finally, somebody with some sense.
And I wanted to take a moment to bring to the board's attention that the board is on the verge of patrolling a sexual offender in a situation where it appears that the board actually is not understanding the extent of the crimes for which Mr. de Guzman committed or what he was even sentenced to state prison for. I cannot stress enough the gravity of this factual error. The board believed during his last suitability hearing that Mr. de Guzman was serving a 15 to life sentence for 2 victims, one between the ages of 10 and 13 and the other between the ages of 16 and 18. This is factually incorrect. Mr. de Guzman is actually serving 8 concurrent 15 to life sentences for the abuse of 5 boys, 4 of which began at the ages of 10 or younger, where he committed literally hundreds of offenses against some of these boys, encompassing the most extensive sexual conduct imaginable, going as far as oral copulation and sodomy. And it appears from the record that the board was actually unaware of his commitment offenses. Now, I have provided a separate written statement where I actually outline what I believe to be the problem, but what I can say is this. What happened was, at the time that the CRA was written, the CRA was based on a probation officer's report that was drafted at a time where only 2 victims were known to law enforcement. After that the other 3 victims came to light, he was eventually charged with 42 counts, covering all 5 victims, and he pled to 2 counts per victim. 8 of those were 288 offenses involving 1 strike allegations. So he was convicted of 8 offenses that all carried
Your 2
mandatory
minutes have
15 to
elapsed.
life
Please
sentences.
conclude your statement.
Don't stop him now.
I need to note that during the hearing, it is crystal clear because it was stated 3 separate times by the board that the victims were 2 underage boys, 1 10 to 13.
Sir, thank you for your comments. Your time has elapsed.
Okay, thank you so much.
Wow. Drop one, flush one.
The next speaker card I have is for Paul Graves. I see you have a hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
All right, thank you. I'm the supervisor of the sexual assault unit here in Contra Costa County. And piggybacking on Mr. Karen, I will say I supervised this unit when Mr. de Guzman's case came through. I've been a prosecutor for over 30 years, and I've spent well over a third of my career prosecuting sexual offenders and supervising this unit. And without hesitation, I can say that Mr. de Guzman is one of the most prolific pedophiles we've ever had in our county, and it was not reflected in the parole board's hearing, and it's clear they did not understand the full extent of what he did to our community. 42 offenses against 5 different victims, 8 concurrent 15 to life sentences. He accomplished his acts through manipulation and violating a position of trust. He used his military background, church, the same church we just heard a pastor speak in support of him from, and his background as a police officer and former police officer to accomplish his offenses. He even used his expired police credentials to get underage males into hot tubs in San Francisco.
Oh, this fool was a cop.
I've heard a lot about his self-help while in prison. I want to point out to the board that when his house was searched in relation to John Doe 1, we located self-help religious books to address his addiction to boys. Yet his conduct went from 1997 to 2013 when he was finally caught. Those self-help books did nothing. I do not believe, Mr. de Guzman, that he has turned off the switch to his pedophilia while in prison based on the extent of what he did to these victims. Last, other than one slight reference, Mr. de Guzman did not make any substantial efforts to correct the misperception of the parole board that his commitment offenses actually included 5 victims, not 2, and a lot more reprehensible conduct than what the parole board was outlining in his hearing.
David.
Our position.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
And we ask you to look at all the conduct, deny his parole, and correct the record moving forward for all future parole hearings. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope they got somebody
The
else.
next speaker card I have is for Jerry Franks. I believe she had her hand up earlier. Go ahead and unmute. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to reconsider the decision made on October 3rd. Ronald de Guzman has only served 10 years for his crimes against young children for the few that we are actually aware of. This amounts to about 2 years per victim. I understand the board felt that he seemed apologetic and done what is expected of him according to the law, but that does not make a person safe to enter back into society. Mr. de Guzman admits having pedophilia and continues to have problems with attractions to young boys, even in prison, where he has not had an opportunity to act on his desires. The psychologist has deemed him high risk. If released, he is being placed in Marina, California, which many children will be enjoying the ocean and other activities where a lack of clothes is the norm, and greater opportunities for Mr. de Guzman's mind to run wild. He has been sexually offending since he was 12 years old.
Damn.
He states that now he's attracted to only men his age, yet admits that the attraction to 12-year-old boys is always with him. Although now he has come out as gay and may not target young boys who are straight, he may warp his thinking to target other gay boys who won't say anything, feeling it's mutual. I beg you to reconsider this decision. Just because the law says he's eligible to seek release doesn't mean he should. Mr. de Guzman needs to serve a total of 15 whole years minimum. He owes that to his victims at least.
Yeah.
He is a danger to young children everywhere he goes, and he puts safety of the public at risk. My boys are traumatized, and it affects their lives and their marriages every day. Please do the right thing and decline his parole.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Teresa Etheridge. Teresa, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
There's going to be a lot of victims speaking against him, and rightfully so.
Thank you for hearing me today. My name is Teresa Etheridge. I'm a mother of a special needs child who was Ronald de Guzman's victim. He groomed our family through the church and through being a police officer for years. He had gained our trust. He is a master manipulator. He will definitely reoffend. Our child, although he is grown, he still suffers from the trauma that Ron caused him. He was deemed a high risk to repeat by a psychologist at both parole board hearings. We also have been traumatized by what he has done to not only our child, but friends of our children, and to 2 of my former students, his cousins.
Damn.
That he had done for years. When he gets out of prison, what is to stop him from reoffending? Nothing. If he gets parole, he could leave the state where he doesn't have to register as a sex offender. He is a liar.
A cheater and a deceiver.
Please don't drink the poison Kool-Aid he has made for others to suffer the same fate. Please do not let this man out. He's only going to harm other people and terrorize other families.
And if you do let him out in a box, please, preferably.
I pray that you'll take this into consideration for his future victims. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Brian Etheridge. Brian, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
Straight to the oven.
Brian, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Good afternoon. I'm the father of one of the many victims, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak. I don't understand how a child predator could be considered for parole when the predator himself admits he gets urges just by seeing a child on TV. Why would a high-risk predator be let out on the streets where he will be around children daily? I truly believe it would be a mistake, that he should not be let out at this time. Change your time, and I hope you really reconsider this parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Ronald de Guzman and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Ronald de Guzman, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
Wood chipper, definitely. Wood chipper.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Ronald de Guzman?
Wood chipper, feet first.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Ronald de Guzman?
Like, I don't understand how they're gonna
Chairperson,
how they're gonna let him out.
More speakers for Ronald de Guzman.
He hasn't even completed the 15 years.
The next case is John Goldberg, BH 7582, item number 35. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. There are a number of speaker cards. The first is Jerry Evans. Jerry, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Yep, I agree with you on that one, Katrina.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Good morning, commissioners.
My name is Jerry Don Evans, and I'm here in support of Mr. John Goldberg's parole. I met John in May of 2019 when I, too, was incarcerated at San Quentin State Prison. Until my parole in January of 2023, John and I spent a great deal of time together and became very good friends. A significant part of the time we spent together was in self-improvement and 12-step recovery programs. So I know firsthand of John's commitment to his sobriety, recovery, and continued self-improvement. I know John to be a man of discipline, integrity, commitment to family, community, and his core values. And I strongly believe that John will be an asset to any community he resides in. One of the most valuable resources for me when I paroled was and in fact still is, my formerly incarcerated friends who have successfully reestablished themselves. I think the board has heard about the strong lifer support that's out here and available for people that paroled already this morning, and John is connected to this strong lifer support.
This is a different case.
The support that they have been able to give me has been as valuable as any other resource that I've utilized. In addition to the financial and material support these friends have given me, they've also been able to help me easily navigate many of the challenges they faced when they were released. And the emotional support they've given, well, it's invaluable. I will be the same support for John as his friend and accountability partner.
This is for John. John
And
Goldberg.
any additional resources that John may need to help him in his transition back into the community, I'm also able to offer him. So I want to thank the commissioners for letting me speak.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
And I simply ask that you affirm the previous board's decision in upholding John Goldberg's parole. Thank you.
So we won't have the decision yet until later
the next
on.
speaker card is Don Evans. Actually, I think that was Don Evans who just spoke. I don't know if Don Evans and Jerry Evans are the same person.
We are. Thank you very much.
He was convicted.
Thank you.
He was convicted of.
Tamara Schaefer. Tamara, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Tamara Schaefer. I'm John's Aunt Kate. I was 17 years old when John was born. I've known him all his life. I'm here to express my support for the parole of John Goldberg, my nephew. I strongly believe that he has truly demonstrated personal growth, remorse, and rehabilitation. John has ambition, dedication, new skills, and acquired knowledge that will enable him to reintegrate into society successfully. I have witnessed a huge improvement in his self-confidence, anger management, attitude, and self-worth. We have a strong family of network people to support him, friends, mentors. My husband, Ken, and I can offer financial support, housing, transportation, job opportunities, moral support, and accountability support. We support John in his continued work on sobriety. We will attend meetings and classes as needed. When John and his brother were young, we would take him to the beach and trips. They would want to climb rocks, climb on the cliffs. They always said their dad let them do it. I would always say, no, not on my watch. This is the same for his sobriety. I will not let him fail. Not on my watch. John calls me often while he's incarcerated. There's very few times I cannot take the call. Upon his release and living in a new environment, I will always take his call. I ask that you affirm John's suitability for parole, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
So this gentleman right here, he
Thank you.
He offed
The next
somebody.
speaker card we have is for John Goldberg.
He unalived somebody.
John Goldberg, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
I'm looking at
John, if you're with us, we cannot hear you.
I just want to make sure. My name is Ian Goldberg. Is it possible that Ian is who you're calling?
It's totally possible. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ian Goldberg. I'm John Goldberg's older brother. First, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today in support of John's parole. A little bit about me. I'm married to my wife of 25 years. We have 2 children. We reside in Fairfield, California. We will play an important role in John's short and long-term parole plans and his relapse prevention plans. We are also listed as one of his housing options following parole. As I'm sure you're here today, John has a significant support network and has done a tremendous amount of work in the past many years while incarcerated. From the outside, we've watched and supported him in his transformation, first as a participant or student graduating from numerous programs, earning a college degree, to becoming a mentor, coach, and a leader of many of those very programs he participated in. John has shown an amazing determination in overcoming challenges as an example of what can be accomplished through the prison rehabilitation programs. Upon his release, he plans to continue his education, attending Sonoma State University to complete his bachelor's degree. My family and I are here to support John in any way we can following his release. With 2 kids in college and both my wife and I college graduates, we look forward to supporting his plans to complete his education. But our support goes far beyond education. We have offered our home if he should need a place to live. We will offer financial support. And most importantly, we will offer any emotional support in all aspects of his relapse prevention plan. In my daily life, I serve as the assistant county administrator here in our county. And I've had the opportunity to work directly with our criminal justice departments, focusing on offering county rehabilitation programs and support to both inmates and those on probation. So I've seen a lot of this firsthand. After watching all John has accomplished, I'm confident he will be successful if he's released, and my family is here to support him in any way we can. I thank you for the opportunity to speak today and for your consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Rebecca Rabkin. Rebecca, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Rabkin, and I'm counsel for Mr. Goldberg. The concern expressed in the governor's referral is whether Mr. Goldberg's parole plans, relapse prevention plans, and social supports are adequate to support his safe release. The answer is yes. And I'll add that in more than a decade of working on parole cases, I've rarely encountered an incarcerated person more prepared for safe and successful release than John Goldberg. His parole plans include transitional housing and reentry programming in Sonoma or Yolo counties, ongoing participation in group programming, 12-step meetings, job offers, and opportunities for higher education. He has relapse prevention plans in all his areas of potential risk, including anger and violence, substance abuse, domestic violence, codependency, and stress management. He has a support network that includes pro-social family and friends, formerly incarcerated people who have successfully integrated into their communities, an AA sponsor, a therapist, and numerous reentry organizations and program volunteers. His substance use disorders are in sustained remission. He has remained free from any disciplinary infractions during his entire incarceration. And the CRA cited his positive response to treatment and supervision and his robust parole and relapse prevention plans as grounds for his low risk rating. In short, all of the evidence suggests Mr. Goldberg's plans and social supports are more than adequate to support his safe release, and I urge you to uphold the panel's well-reasoned decision granting parole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Janet Goldberg. Janet, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Janet Goldberg, and I'm speaking in support of my son, John Goldberg. My son and I have a relationship that is stronger than it has ever been. John and I speak on the phone daily and share an unbreakable bond. The transformation I have witnessed my son accomplish is beyond words. He has been there for his son and family for both milestones and challenges while incarcerated. He has demonstrated his dedication, empathy for others, and self-awareness and understanding, willingness and patience, moral values and integrity. I will be there for John wherever he is placed in transition upon his reentry with any and all support he requires, whether it be transportation, housing, emotional, financial, food, clothing, shelter, or social support.
I'm pretty sure
Not
there is
only
going to
will
be.
I provide for my son, but we have such a strong support network of family and friends that stretch throughout Northern California. These individuals have followed his journey throughout his incarceration and are prepared to support his reentry. He has maintained his sobriety 6 years and is dedicated to remaining sober when released. He has had personal conversations with family and friends, setting healthy boundaries to support his sobriety, and all are willing to accommodate John's request to refrain from offering alcohol or marijuana in any capacity. We all want to see him succeed and are willing to do what it takes to support that. He has had me send him the list AA and Al-Anon meetings in the counties in which he may be placed. His educational goals are supported through Project Rebound, professors from Sonoma State and instructors from Mount Tamalpais who have witnessed his ability to achieve a higher education and also sought out his support as teacher assistant. John has a home in Bodega, California that we share and where he has permanent residence once he completes his transitional housing requirements. I humbly request that the board affirm my son's suitability and set a date for release. Thank you.
He unalived somebody.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Edward Honey. Edward, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute.
I don't know how.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning. My name is Edward Honey. I'm the program director of the GRIP Training Institute. To provide some context, GRIP Training Institute is a healing and accountability program that provides groups in 7 prisons and serves approximately 500 students per year. Since its inception in 2012, GRIP has served over 1,700 students, of which 750 have been found suitable for parole. Of those 750, less than 2% of our graduates have reoffended. Mr. Goldberg is both a graduate and a facilitator of our program, volunteering his time each week to help guide new students through the process of finding their true selves, exploring the internal trauma that led to their crimes, and finding healing through accountability and service to others. Mr. Goldberg demonstrates true dedication and transparency in his rehabilitation, as well as making himself available as a support and role model to other students of the program outside of class time, to assist them in developing a better understanding of their traumas and being accountable for their actions. He is compassionate, honest, and kind, and has fully invested himself in the path of rehabilitation, which shows in his words and actions each day. Were John to be found suitable, GRIP would also be able to offer up regular support groups, employment, and pro-social connections with both GRIP staff and other paroled alumni of our program. On behalf of the GRIP organization, we are in support of bringing Mr. Goldberg home so that he may continue to guide and inspire others to function as safe members of their community and act as a living testament to rehabilitation. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card is for Robert Licht. Robert, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Robert Licht, and I was a facilitator for the GRIP Training Institute in San Quentin for 7 years, and I've known Mr. Goldberg since 2019 when he was a GRIP student. Excuse me. GRIP stands for Guiding Rage into Power, as you just heard, and it is a year-long curriculum involving deep emotional work. The students read, write, reflect, and share openly their childhood traumas, unprocessed grief, and their crimes in full truth and detail as part of their healing and accountability journey. Students must fearlessly trust this process of self-examination, no matter where it leads or how hard it gets. I witnessed Mr. Goldberg's willingness to sit in that fire of pain and acceptance. He stayed open and vulnerable as he unflinchingly investigated his past emotional dysfunction, substance abuse, and toxic beliefs. With this clarity, he has taken responsibility for his past and feels deep, sincere remorse for the victims and survivors of his misguided actions. Mr. Goldberg was chosen by staff to be a GRIP trainee facilitator. This was recognition that he had thoroughly internalized the GRIP principles and would be a valuable mentor to new students. He is respected for his non-judgmentalness and willingness to give his all to help others on their journey of transformation. Through his incarceration, Mr. Goldberg has maintained a strong relationship with his son David and his mother Janet. After time in transitional housing, Mr. Goldberg will move to his family home in Bodega Bay, where he will have his mother present as an integral member of his support system, which is vast. I support Mr. Goldberg without reserve. He has done the hard personal work and is ready to safely reintegrate into his community. I ask you to please uphold his suitability for release by the parole board. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of John Goldberg and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. We have a couple of hands raised. Amanda Whiteman, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I've known Mr. Goldberg for over a year as he co-facilitated awareness into domestic abuse. I'm one of the outside advisors for ADA and get to see John in action with his peers, encouraging them to do the work to unpack their trauma and understand their thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and behavior. It's clear to me that John has done all of this work through the examples he shares with his peers regarding understanding different levels of abuse, childhood adverse experiences, and creating plans to avoid relapse. He is a very effective leader because he's an active listener, empathetic, grateful to his peers for showing up and doing the work. He's organized, he sets high expectations, and is passionate about teaching how to avoid abusive behavior. As a volunteer at San Quentin since 2019, I have met men who are ready to go home and those who still have some work to do. John is one of those men that is ready to go home and help his community and others avoid the beliefs and behaviors that led him to prison. I look forward to being part of his community support team and helping in any way that I can, from teaching financial literacy to just being someone to call and connect with. Thank you.
Thank you. The next hand raised we have is for Floyd D. Collins. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. My name is Floyd Collins, and the reason I'm here today is to support John Goldberg's suitability decision. John, I'm formerly incarcerated also, and I met John in 2022 inside San Quentin Prison. I'm the co-founder of Awareness into Domestic Abuse, and John went through the program as we were there together. The reason why I support John is many. His character, first and foremost, stands out. He is a credible messenger. He's a leader. He has values. He's driven. And the biggest thing is his integrity. I'm open to supporting John in a multitude of ways if he's in the Sacramento area. But if he's not, I'm willing to be an accountability partner in any way that he needs support, an informational resource to help him navigate the foreseen and unforeseen potholes that may be there for him on his journey, emotional and mental support, and where I can, possible financial support. John is someone who is a role model at San Quentin. John is someone who is integral also in my rehabilitation processes for the one-on-one conversations that we had on a daily basis. John takes time out of his day at any and all times on the yard or in his cell to assist and help others who may be going through something. John was handpicked to be the lead facilitator for ADA upon my parole, and I just ask respectfully that his suitability decision is affirmed. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of John Goldberg, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of John Goldberg?
Normally, when there's a lot of support from the family, there's
Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of John Goldberg.
There's normally opposition.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to John Goldberg.
We'll find out if I'm right
Thank
or I'm
you.
wrong.
We have a speaker card, Wes Keat, DDA from Humboldt County. I see that you're with us. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
No, they're not. They're not watching. It's just us.
On behalf of a community which sees the threatened release of inmate Goldberg as a severe injustice, we urge the board to carefully consider the governor's concerns. We think it is just unrealistic to expect that the inmate's character has been authentically and durably transformed in such a minimal period of imprisonment, glaringly disproportionate to the gravity of the senseless, brutal murder at issue. Indeed, only his arrest for this murder provided for a pause in the criminal lifestyle and substance abuse the inmate had long pursued. Rescission is appropriate. A new hearing should be set. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to John Goldberg and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to John Goldberg, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to John Goldberg? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about John Goldberg? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for John Goldberg.
Thank you, moderator. At this time, we will take a 10-minute break. Let's return at 11 minutes after 11.
Stretch out.
Thank you.
Hey, so let me see that crypto guy asked. Yeah, so that was the DA. That was the DA for Humboldt County. He was opposing the release of that gentleman there. Thank God I need the bathroom. Right? Hey guys, I think the next guy that's coming up after this guy that's on right now, I think he might be worse or right about the same as Ronald. Ronald, let me see, what was his name? Ronald de Guzman, or what was his name? Let me see here. Let me look it up. Ronald de Guzman. He might be. I'm not sure if it's the same guy because he has a very common name. The dude's name is Carlos Hernandez out of San Mateo. I found 2 cases, and I looked up the dates of when he went to prison, and the dates are kind of close. So it might be the same guy. I'm not sure. So I wanna see what they say, and then we'll confirm if it is the guy that I think it is. But I don't want to jump the gun there. But if it is the guy,
if you wish to speak, please complete a
that has the same type of charges as Ronald, he should have some opposition, and we'll find out there if what I found is correct. So I don't want to label him yet. Want to confirm.
The card is available on the board's website at cdcr.ca.gov/BPH.
Paco Taco, I'm not sure how many people he on the live.
Persons may attend the meeting.
Hey, Clint, thank you. Appreciate the follow. Hey, and if you haven't done so, please do so. Hit that follow. It's free 99. Doesn't cost you anything. Don't be a Mr. Krabby Patty. Don't be a Scrooge McDuck. Don't be a Codo. Don't be a tight ass. What I'm asking for, it's free. It's not like I'm asking for money. Hey, Jay, thank you. Appreciate that follow right there. It's free. It's free 99. You're watching it. You're on here. So you might find some type of value. Unless you just like tuning into like random streams and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Hey, tap. Hey, thank you, Sydney. Hey, what's up, Lovely Joe? How's it going? Let me see. Bobby, thank you. Bobby Jean, thank you for the like. Ali, thank you for the like.
And identify yourself as
you guys are watching this stream on YT vertical. How do you guys like this setup? I think this is what I'm gonna start doing from now on. I'm gonna go ahead and run these streams vertical like the way I do on TT. And then I'm gonna have like the regular stream without my commentary. So if you wanna listen to my commentary, it'll be on the vertical streams. If you will. Cindy, love it. Hey, 66,000 likes. Hell yeah, Haley. That's what I'm talking about right there. We can't see you or hear you there. Well, I got 2 streams on YT. You gotta go. You gotta select the right one. You gotta select on the one that says vertical. And I put the information on the chat. Hey, thank you, little mama. Gracias. 69,000. That's 69. That's what I'm talking. All right, then let me go. We'll go ahead and do one of these right here. Show. Let me see. Ostrich puts he loves it. Yes, I like this way. From Lexi. Gracias, highly appreciate it. So yeah. I'm like, man, like, you know what? I gotta switch it up. You know, a lot of people are doing vertical streams. Like, thank you for that heart. Oh man, thank you. Highly appreciate that. Red hearts, gracias. Highly appreciate that. So yeah, so it's just we got about 6 more minutes before they come back, and then you guys just got me with the commentary, if you will. Your graphics are backwards, CC James. No, I don't know how to flip the camera on YT. I haven't figured that out yet. That is just I could flip the phone around, but then I can't see the comments. Maybe I'll do that. Should I do that? Should I flip the camera around? Maybe I will do that, but then I can't see the comments. What to do? No sé. I don't know. You see on TT, I could just hit the button, it'll flip it around. Let me check. Let me press it with some of these buttons here. If something goes wrong, we just go ahead and blame Ostrich right here. You see, retouch. I don't want to be retouched. Let me see here. Let me retouch on, retouch off. Let me see. This is Kelly. Yes. Okay. So this is an actual board of parole hearing. I know you guys are used to seeing these parole board hearings with me, but this one is not a parole board hearing. Hey, thank you, Cindy. I see we just hit 70,000. We'll go ahead and hit one of these again. So this isn't an actual parole board hearing. The parole board hearings in California, they're not open to the public like other states. But what this is, it's known as an in-bank hearing. What it is, it's these individuals already went in front of the board, okay? And the board found them suitable to go home. In California, if you're convicted of an unaliving, you have to wait 150 days before you actually get out. And on the last 30 days, they send your information over to the governor of California, which will be Newsom, all right? Within those 30 days, Newsom has to decide whether they're going to let you go or not. He has the option of rescinding your suitability, or sending you back to the parole board, which is what we're doing right now. Their suitability got rescinded. He sent it over to the parole board, and we're watching the in-bank hearing. That's why we don't get to hear from the individuals themselves. You know, we're hearing from the people that are supporting them or the people that are opposing the release. So hopefully that clears up some confusion for some of you guys that are tuning in. Hopefully I explained it correctly. If I didn't, please let me know, and I'll go ahead and try to explain it to the best of my limited ability, if you will.
Next of kin, anonymous, or other.
I can't stream this on the TV. Why not?
Si desea hacer un comentario, por favor, llene una tarjeta.
Ostrich is able to do it on a 75-inch. Why can't you? Let me see here. What about it? Ellie. You know I got you. All right, I'm trying to look at all the comments. I got 4 different streams going right here. I got 3 phones in front of me, and then I got my computer right here in the bottom. So, you know, I'm trying to diversify my attention to other streams. So I'm not trying to ignore anybody. So if you drop a comment and I don't see it, love the content, bro, keep it up. Hey, thank you, Clocked 101 Coffee. Hey, you gotta try something new. Hey, and if you guys see somebody else doing parole board hearings, you guys saw it here first. I was the one that started doing these parole board hearings on TT, if you will. Let me see, parole hearing, live court hearings, NFL. NFL, normally they do them earlier on in the day. Right now I'm not doing any commentary on any court hearings right now. I'm doing... What? I lost the connection. Hold on.
Si está de acuerdo con o en contra del caso. Su relación al caso. Si es pariente, abogado, fiscal o víctima.
Give me a minute here. I might be having some issues with my other computer over here. The hell? Oops, I can't hit that. Hold on, I got an issue over here, so you see unresponsive page, exit. Let's see what happened. Did they take down the? They might have taken down the, what do you call it? The hearing from Utah. Damn, it's no bueno. How dare they do that? Oh, okay. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the first time I've ever heard of not being able to stream vertical. That is interesting though. On the TVA. Thank you, Cha-Cha. Thank you. Hey, we're at 76,000 likes on TT. If you guys could get me up to 100K, we haven't hit 100K in a few weeks now because I really haven't been streaming like I was in the past. Let's get him to the 100 tag. That's what I'm talking. I like that motivation sig right there. Hey, Paco Taco, gracias. Hey, thank you for switching on over to the TT site. Let me see, man. Let me see over here. We're gonna get there. Yeah, it's been a few weeks. I remember one day, a few weeks back, man, we hit 200,000 likes. That's what I'm talking about. You know, when those things happen, I'm more than happy to be on these streams.
Of your call-in number for identification when it is time for you to speak. You may also call 916-322-4752 to register your speaker.
What's your high? The highest has been over 200,000 likes. I don't recall the exact number.
Your telephone number or last 2 digits, organization if applicable, name of case on agenda. And
hey, what's up, Lynn? How's it going? Hey, you're a little bit late today. Where you been?
Support or in opposition of parole. And identify your.
You know what? I didn't even know people were I didn't even know vertical streaming was a thing on YT. So the other day it popped. I don't know what I was doing. I noticed it. I was like, what? I was like, man, they got the setup like TT. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. So like, man, I gotta start doing these vertical streams from now on. So I got the regular stream, the landscape, and then I got the vertical stream, if you will. If that makes any sense. Are they back? Are we back on live? All right, I think we might be having some action. My fellow collect callers. Can you add my face to the landscape? Let me see. What's going on over here? Did my computer just give out? No sé. Archer says, I'm sending you an Oakland A's hat. I didn't realize this account was live too. Yeah, I got both of them going on right now. I'm doing multiple streams, if you will. Am I going to the club tonight? What club? I don't be doing clubs anymore. Catch me in the club. Let's see, my computer, is it tripping? Let me see. I'm going to shut the other one down because I don't know what happened to my other stream.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We will now reconvene. Our next case is Carlos Hernandez, Victor 98824, item number 36. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Octavio Flores. Octavio, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Let's see.
Thank you. My name is Octavio, honorable members of the board, Parole. My name is Octavio Flores, and I'm the nephew and godson of Mr. Hernandez. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here speaking to you about the self-improvement preparation that my uncle has demonstrated in prison. I believe that the purpose of the parole is not only to ensure that justice is served, but also to acknowledge the inmate's rehabilitation and commitment to change to reintegrate into our society. Since 2008, during our many visits to prison, my uncle used to talk about the board of parole. I learned more about the parole and started to see how motivated and proactively involved he was in learning English, math, attending AA groups, working almost religiously in the kitchen, and also doing some rehabilitation programs such as victims impact, victims awareness, that would help him to take personal responsibility and reform. I know how serious and prepared he has been for this parole. During the last 5 or 4 years, I have sent him a couple of books for his rehabilitation, registered him for a program called Pathways, which focuses on understanding the sexual addiction and
It is him.
offending.
Damn.
My uncle will not be re-entering to society aimlessly, but rather with a clear path, as his family, people who support him, and I have gone to multiple churches, AA groups, to ask for his acceptance. And at the same time, we are committed to support him to follow rules, programs, and activities suggested by the parole to reassure his smooth transition. In October from last year, you guys saw on Mr. Hernandez the qualities to grant him a parole. Today, we kindly ask you again to grant him a parole, not simply for his acts of forgiveness, as an act of forgiveness, but as an act of recognition to
Your
an
2 minutes
inmate
have elapsed.
who
Please
has
conclude
shown
your statement.
hard work, dedication, readiness to re-enter into society as a law-abiding citizen. Thank you.
So it is the guy that I found
Our next
online.
speaker is Carlos Hernandez.
This guy had over
Carlos,
30.
your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Over 30 counts.
Hello, my name is Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez is my father. There was a 22-year period which I had no communication with my father. This was a choice I made, and it created a deep disconnection between myself and my father. However, I always held the hope that one day we might reconnect and possibly rebuild our relationship.
You don't want to do
Years
that.
later, through my own personal therapy struggles and my marriage and the birth of my son, I came to realize the void I felt in my life. It was a painful feeling, one that made me understand that I needed to reach out to my father. I managed to get in contact with his family, and with their help, we arranged our first meeting in August of 2024. That visit was more meaningful than I could have ever imagined. It was a healing experience, and continues to be one that has allowed me to hear his life story and recall the good memories I had with him. My father is not perfect, but he has taught me the importance of looking forward and allowing life's challenges to prevent me from living a respectful and healthy life with my loved ones. Our reunion made me realize how much I had missed having a father figure when I needed him most. During our visit, he shared valuable lessons to me and emphasized the importance of hard work, caring for those around us, surrounding ourselves with positive influences and people, being a good role model, especially now that I am a father. Despite spending years away, my father has maintained a positive outlook on life. He is committed to his rehabilitation and actively engaged on programs and resources that have been available within the California Department of Corrections. He has worked hard to better himself, and with strong support from family and friends that have witnessed his growth, he is ready to integrate into society. I sincerely hope
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I sincerely hope my father is given a second chance.
Second chance
to continue on this positive
victimizing
path,
others,
making meaningful contributions to his family and community, and with the support of all loved ones. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Carlos Hernandez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Carlos Hernandez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Carlos Hernandez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Carlos Hernandez.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Carlos Hernandez.
Opposition.
If you'd like to speak in opposition to Carlos Hernandez, looks like we have one hand raised. Marciela, you may unmute yourself, and your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Marciela.
My name is Maricela, his niece, and a victim to his actions.
Oh.
On the last board meeting, my uncle was not one bit sorry for what he did. He has taken zero accountability of what he has done to our lives. He blames his actions on everything and everyone else besides himself. He was reading off of a paper like it was a script. This isn't a movie he can just rehearse. This is my reality, and what he has done to me has caused me severe trauma. Age does not make him wiser nor change his needs. No matter how many classes or programs he takes, he is not capable of change. He has been diagnosed with so many bad things that no medicine will cure him. If he gets released, he will have freedom to hurt and manipulate again. No matter how good he looks in paper, he's still a danger to society, specifically little girls. Please do not approve his parole. Thank you.
We have another hand raised for Anonymous. Please begin speaking, and your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Andreina Hernandez, and I am the victim, and I strongly oppose his release. The last parole hearing, I hope to see true remorse and accountability for his actions. While he claimed to be remorseful, I heard a lot of blame shifting. But the truth is, no one forced him to do what he did to me. He was my father and I loved him, but as I grew older, I came to understand that what he did was wrong. That's where my trauma began. I spent years carrying the weight of anger and pain, asking myself why he did this to me. Why would he do this to his own daughter? A father's role is to protect, love, nurture his child, not inflict lifelong trauma. Those advocating for his release never had to walk into his room every Saturday morning like I did. They did not endure what I endured. I live with the consequences of his actions every single day, and I ask you to deny his release. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Carlos Hernandez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Carlos Hernandez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken and wants to speak in opposition to Carlos Hernandez?
There has to be more people.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wants to speak about Carlos Hernandez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Carlos Hernandez.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Dana Kovacevic, AI 2329, item number 37. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Dana Kovacevic and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Dana Kovacevic, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wants to speak in support of Dana Kovacevic? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Dana Kovacevic.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Dana Kovacevic.
Our first speaker is Barbara Cathcart. Barbara, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Yes, good morning. My name is Barbara Cathcart. I'm a Deputy District Attorney for Santa Clara County. We previously submitted a written statement from Rob Baker in opposition. I'm here to share a statement by the victim's mother, Joby Bias. The actions of Mr. Kovacevic have greatly affected my life. It has been 18 years since that day that Justin was taken away from me, and yet the pain and trauma are still there, especially now that I write this statement. I wake up every day with a void in my heart that will never be filled. The pain of losing Justin is unbearable. I never got the chance to witness his first words, his first crawl, his first step, his first of many milestones. Justin deserved a future full of promise, but his life was so abruptly taken away from him, defenseless. I've lost faith and trust in those around me, especially when it comes to being around my children. I've gone through numerous nightmares because of the trauma that I experienced, and this has taken a toll on my relationships for the last 18 years. I've been very suspicious of everyone that comes near my children, and I'm constantly living in fear that someone will hurt them. This trauma has made me very overprotective of my children and has also affected them growing up. I have always feared that Mr. Kovacevic and his family will retaliate against me and worse, my children. By granting him parole, this has made my fears a reality, which I do not know how to protect myself and my children from. His letters apologizing for what he did were cold and insincere. It was clearly written to satisfy a requirement for the possibility of parole, such as specifically mentioning that Justin will never experience his first Christmas. Indeed, Justin did, and a month later is when he was murdered. People should not be able to commit crimes like this and get away with it. I ask the parole board to re-examine their initial decision to consider the pain, suffering, and fear that I have for myself and my family. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Dana Kovacevic and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Dana Kovacevic, please unmute yourself by pressing and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Dana Kovacevic?
So,
is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Dana Kovacevic?
He unalived this kid by shaking him.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Dana Kovacevic.
Thank you. The next case is Victor Lopez, F81755, item number 38. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Victor Lopez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Victor Lopez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken to speak in support of Victor Lopez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Victor Lopez.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Victor Lopez.
The first speaker is Eric Adorno Jr. Eric, if you're with us, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Looks like you are in person.
Damn, look, he's getting ready. It's not going to be easy.
This is my father's robe as he speaks through me today. We are here because my father, Eric Manuel Adorno Sr., who was murdered on the night of August 24, 2003, only one day after his birthday. My name is Eric Adorno Jr. I'm his namesake, and I'm my father's son. Eric Adorno Sr., Eric Adorno, this is the last time that you will hear his name. This is the last time that you will hear his name. But this is not my last time. This is not my last time. This is not my last time that I will hear his name. This is not the last time that I feel my pain, that I feel the hurt, the anguish, the pain, the suffering, the sorrow. I think of him every day. When you say my name, you say his. He lives through me. I stand here today representing more than myself. Dad, if I could trade my life for yours, I would. All that I am and all that I have is because of you. The blood on Victor Lopez's hands the blood on Victor Lopez's hands will never be washed away. I demand full restitution to be paid. The governor agrees with my stance today that he has not learned his lesson. He was an innocent man. He was my hero, my idol, all that I am and all that I have. 1 year ago, the parole board...
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Got it. In a recent incident, Lopez hid an inmate's cell phone in his own pocket. This shows a clear lack and fallback into peer pressure and gang secrecy. He has not learned his lesson. Dad, you have spoken through me today, and like the letters etched in your headstone, until we meet again. And just like our movie Rocky, I'm still standing. Your son, Eric Adorno Jr.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Natasha Adorno. Natasha, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hearing these cases is not easy.
We can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. My son just got me a little. I'm sorry. My husband was murdered. Victor Lopez and Antonio Barajas murdered my husband for no reason. They didn't know him. Just because he was wearing red. He was wearing a red shirt and red shoes, and they murdered him because of that. They have no heart. Victor Lopez, I understand he did, out of the 6 people, he was the only one to apologize to me. I will say that. But I do not feel like he's learned his lesson. I feel like he needs to be in there many more years. I don't feel like he's learned his lesson. And like my son said, he's still doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing. I asked the board to please deny his parole. I'm not saying that I would say that he would have to have life, but I do not think he is ready to get out. He murdered my husband for no reason. My husband was just leaving the hospital. I had just had surgery. He was just dropping our kids off. These guys drive up, they see he's wearing red, and they shoot him and drive off for no reason. It was absolutely ridiculous. Fighting over colors and killing people over colors. Our kids are affected. He has 4 kids. They're all affected. They're all affected by this. Even into their adult lives, they have been affected. And he does not even understand. He's never wrote a letter of apology. He did say it in court, but he's never said anything. And the last time we had the hearing, he didn't apologize at the hearing either. So I do not feel like he's ready. And I ask that the board please honor the denial of his parole as of now. Thank you.
Our next speaker, we have another speaker card for Eric Adorno. If this is a duplicate. It is a duplicate. Okay, we will move on. Our next speaker is Margot Roan. Margot, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
In person.
My name is Margot Rowan. I'm a Deputy District Attorney from Stanislaus County. The people implore this panel to rescind Mr. Lopez's grant of parole and re-examine several key issues that arose at his last parole hearings, which were never adequately addressed and are key to an accurate appraisal by the board of his ability to handle the many stressors of life in the community. At his last 2 parole hearings, the inmate admitted to participating in at least 20 to 25 gang-relating shootings, in addition to the brutal life crime for which he is now in prison. Yet the panel barely explored these other shootings, despite how they bear on his rehabilitation, simply glossing over them, despite their direct nexus to the life crime. The inmate also admitted to circumventing restitution on at least 2 occasions, one as recently as September of 2023, by conspiring with his sponsor, a former cellie who had been paroled. This clear display of criminal thinking and behavior was also glossed over by the panel, despite being highly relevant and one of ultimate harm to the victims. The inmate also admitted at the last parole hearing to lying at his 2021 RVR hearing in order to avoid getting that RVR, which he successfully avoided, by again conspiring with a cellie before the hearing, agreeing on the story Lopez would tell about how he came to be in possession of the cell phone, which his cellie then corroborated. Again, criminal thinking and criminal behavior coupled with associating with negative peers. This is indicative of how Lopez will conduct himself on the outside if his parole is upheld, but it was just a blip on the screen for the panel. It is important to note that Dr. Ellis was not aware of any of this behavior when she gave the inmate a low-risk rating. The people ask the commissioners to look beyond his educational programming and not be blinded by it, but to look at his actions while incarcerated and his actions recently. Please also consider that he's a third-timer here, having served 2 prior terms.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Having served 2 prior terms and failed on supervised release both times. I thank you for your time.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Victor Lopez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Victor Lopez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Victor Lopez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Victor Lopez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Victor Lopez.
Thank you. The next case is Jason Page, CDCR number J68558. I'm sorry.
What happened?
Oh, okay. Moderator, it looks like we do have Miss Humphrey wanting to speak. She appears to be on mute.
He unalived somebody. Normally, where is this at? This
Try to
is
speak. We cannot hear you. Please unmute.
California.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
California.
Yeah, I didn't plan to say anything today. I am the mother of Asante Adorno, and Trey and Taylor and Natalia. Those are my kids as well. I have through this tragedy, Tasha and myself have grew to have the greatest relationship. But at the end of the day, the kids are still affected. Yes, they're adults, but my son has a Asante. He's 25 now, and he's just not doing what he's doing well, but emotionally and mentally, the death it stagnated him in life. He's stagnated. He's angry, and he was never that type of kid or young adult. And I even talked to Natalia, and she tells me she has daddy issues, and we talk about it with her and her husband, and even though these kids are all doing well, they're still like eternally broken. They're mentally, they're physically broken. I'm broken over here just to see Trey. I wish I can just be there with him, because it's damaged the family. It's damaged the family. It's brought us all together. However, there's still emotional, physical, mental damage that is irreplaceable. All we can do is pray for better days, and I don't see anyone that's here in favor, just like we said in the first hearing. I don't see anyone who's in favor for him. Unfortunately, that has to be said, but that is a representation of him. And so I would like you guys to just, take all of our words and the pain that our family has went through into consideration when looking at
Your 2
allowing
minutes
him,
have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
while allowing him, freedom. And again, I stand with Natasha, that I don't think life, but definitely needs more rehabilitation and more emotional work. And I just pray for better days for him. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wants to speak about Victor Lopez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Victor Lopez.
The next case is Jason Page, CDCR number J68558, item number 39. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Hey,
the first speaker is Christina Fox. Christina, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Christina Fox, attorney for Jason Page. The governor's concerns about whether or not Mr. Page has sufficiently mitigated his risk factors as to domestic violence and substance abuse are without merit. Throughout the nearly 100 pages of questioning, approximately 60 addressed Mr. Page's domestic violence issues, and nearly 30 addressed his substance abuse issues. That's the majority of the hearing. The panel recognized that Mr. Page was a different person from the one who appeared in the previous hearing and minimized and played the victim. Transcript, page 122. They noted that he had developed coping skills to prevent himself from reoffending. Transcript, page 122. The panel noted that Mr. Page has taken domestic violence prevention and creative conflict resolution, as well as victims awareness, victims impact, anger management, and stress management, among others. Transcript, page 121. The panel noted his participation in programs to address his substance abuse and mental health, including but not limited to AA, NA, Freedom to Choose, Journey to Wellness and Prep, transcript page 121. The panel specifically found that Mr. Page had internalized his programming, transcript page 121. The CRA found Mr. Page to be on the lower end of moderate. The panel found that he had developed concrete plans for release, specifically addressing anger, domestic violence, substance abuse, character defects, and healthy relationships. Transcript, page 123. The panel felt that through his active participation in self-help and his lengthy period of programming, that he was no longer dangerous and ready for the challenges of parole. This was a joint decision that is well supported by the record, and the en banc panel should uphold it. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Jason Page or on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Jason Page, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who's not spoken who wants to speak in support of Jason Page? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Jason Page.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Jason Page.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Jason Page and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Jason Page, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Jason Page? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Jason Page? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Jason Page.
The next case is Thomas Shadden, CDCR number F19240, item number 40. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Thomas Shadden and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it's your turn to speak. Looks like we have hand raised for Vanessa Shadden and Jason Ortiz. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Shadden, wife of Thomas Shadden. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak today. Many people may say on both parts, him in prison and me waiting for 20 plus years has to be the worst experience or the hardest thing to do. I can honestly say this was a blessing because me and my husband wouldn't be who we are today. We wouldn't have a strong marriage like we have now, and my husband would have never found the good man that he is. He learned how to heal, to show empathy, and he learned how to love, and most importantly, he learned how to forgive himself for the hurt he has caused in his life and in others. And I'm proud of the man he has become. A God-fearing man who loves people and who has been given the gift to preach the word of God in the prison system, preparing him for the community. God has a calling on his life, and we are so blessed to have pastors wanting to work with us, to train us for leadership in our church, to become youth pastors. My husband desires to work with young adults. He would like to embrace meaningful changes by using the positive tools of many self-help classes that he has taken, received college degrees with many certificates to become a better person. He has the opportunity with our pastors to go into juvenile facilities and to share his testimony and to fulfill the work of God's will. As a victim, in his case, I am in support of a release. I have forgiven him for the past hurt he has caused me and look forward to a new future that we will have. I see him to be a good example to our grown children and to our grandchildren, but most importantly, a good citizen in our community. I ask that you please affirm his grant. Thank you.
This is an en banc hearing. So,
if you would like to speak in support of Thomas Shadden and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it's your turn to speak.
what I've been able to find is he set a woman's car on fire.
It looks like Jason will be speaking. Jason, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
He's a third striker. So he got
Hello,
stricken
my name
out.
is Jason Ortiz. I am the brother-in-law to Mr. Shadden. I am also the victim in the case that he is now serving time for.
Victim in that case.
I'm here in full support of his release. I believe that Thomas has done exactly what we wish people would do when they're in prison. It is take the time to reflect on their mistakes, take the time to better themselves. Like my sister said, Thomas Shadden has gotten 2 degrees while being in prison. I have spoken and had a relationship for the last 20 years while he was incarcerated. You would think a situation like this would break a family apart, and this situation has made this family. stronger. I am the previous director for the re-entry program that Thomas Shannon was already approved to go into, so I know what they do and what they stand for. I am a person that has worked in this field of prisoners that have been granted parole, so I know firsthand the power and the work that they are able to put into once they are released out here. I asked that the board come into agreement with the previous board that granted him parole. Thomas Shannon has a tremendous support by family, church members. We were prepared for him to come home. We have gotten him ready to be enrolled in college, to pursue his career as a drug and alcohol counselor. He has no obstacles that he's going to have to face while being out here. I find him to be ready to make the changes that has already been made by him, to continue to make a prosperous life for him and his family, for him to be a grandfather to his kids, to be a grandfather to his grandkids.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I'm going to close in this. I believe in the power of redemption. I believe in the power of second chances, and I believe in the power of forgiveness. This is why I, Jason Ortiz, the victim in this case, ask that you find him approved for
one of the victims.
Parole. Thank you.
So I'm reading one of his.
If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Thomas Shannon, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
I was reading one of his cases. It says, angry at the mother of his children, defendant Thomas Joe Shannon produced a GUN and opened fire on the occupied car as bystanders looked on.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Thomas Shannon.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Thomas Shannon.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Thomas Shannon and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak.
He also
if you're
said,
on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Thomas Shannon, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Thomas Shannon? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Thomas Shannon?
Most likely he's going to get
Chairperson,
out.
there are no more speakers for Thomas Shannon.
The next case is Joseph Short, DB 6196, item number 41. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Joseph Short, Sacramento.
Our first speaker is Joseph Short. Joseph, you have 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Joseph Short. Joseph, can you hear us? Hello. Hello.
Joseph Short, are you with us?
Are you calling me Nicholas Short, his brother? Joseph Short is the parolee.
The name that I'm seeing is Joseph Short, but it could be for you. So if you would like to speak, you can go ahead and begin speaking.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Nick Short. I'm Joe Short's older brother. Our mother, Linda Cummings, is also attending today, and she asked that I make a statement on our family's behalf. I understand in this case that the governor's main concern is whether Joe has made sufficient progress on managing his substance abuse issues. And so on that specific question, let me just say a couple things. First, in our view, Joe has made tremendous strides in dealing with his addictions. Yes, he has maintained a sobriety since 2016, as you know, but he has also put in the work to identify and address the underlying causes of and triggers for his behavior. He's participated in AA for 8 years and NA for 4 years, and he will continue with these programs like 90 and 90 if he's released. He's taken GRIP and twice taken the Integrated Substance Use Disorder Treatment course. He's participated in other programs on denial and anger management and personal responsibility, and he's also had extensive therapy. So in short, my mom and I have both observed a huge shift in Joe's ability to understand and deal with his addictions. Second, my mom and I are now painfully aware that Joe's substance abuse problems are not something that only affect him personally, but have the potential to inflict great harm on others. And we are committed to ensuring that if released, Joe will live a clean life and adhere to all of the conditions of his parole. Joe has shared with us a list of red flag warning signs that would warrant us calling his parole officer. We will keep in touch with Joe on a daily basis, and we will call his parole officer if he relapses or violates any of the conditions of his release. and we had told Joe as much. Joe has a big support network, and he's aware that we're willing to do anything to support him in dealing with his addictions, but that we will not allow him to behave in a way that could cause harm to others. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this statement.
Next speaker we have is Natasha Bruckner.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in support of Joe Short today. My name is Natasha Bruckner, and I'm a volunteer facilitator with the Guiding Rage into Power program, or GRIP. And GRIP is a violence prevention program where incarcerated students learn to stop their violence. They also learn to practice mindfulness, develop emotional intelligence, and understand victim impact. So Joe completed this year-long course last August, and I was one of the facilitators then. And so I'm here to attest that he was a really exemplary student in the course. He always devoted himself fully and wholeheartedly to our curriculum. And he was and still is devoted also to his recovery and rehabilitation. And he really showed a sincere desire to learn and grow and evolve. He was consistently very courageous in sharing in class, being vulnerable and open-hearted and honest. And he really did the hard work of looking deeply, examining his past behaviors and taking accountability for them. He's now a GRIP graduate, and as such, he has made a commitment to be a peacemaker for life. And my experience of Joe is that he shows a deeply caring presence, integrity, honesty, and all of that supports his commitment to be a peacemaker. So I really have no doubt that he would be a valuable community member and an upstanding neighbor, and also a role model, which he is already where he is now, and that he would make a positive contribution to any community that he would be a part of. So I have no hesitation in recommending Joe highly for your consideration for parole, and thank you very much for your time.
If you would like to speak in support of Joseph Short and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Joseph Short, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Joseph Short? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Joseph Short.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Joseph Short.
The first speaker is Dean Archibald. Dean, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
All right, thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Morning, Commissioners. Again, Dean Archibald, Deputy District Attorney, Sacramento County District Attorney's Office. We oppose Mr. Short's release. You know, he's someone who poses a particularly dangerous threat to the community. You know, someone who is, as an example, someone who goes into prison as a gangster when they come out. It's a little bit tougher to get out and be a thug again because it's more of a younger man's game. But someone like Mr. Short, whose criminal predilection is drinking and driving at incredibly reckless manner, it's easy. You just get out, start drinking, and you start driving again. And Mr. Short had, before this horrific collision that killed David Condell, because Mr. Short was drunk driving yet again, and he had 2003 DUI, 2007 DUI, which was dismissed for legal technicalities, 2010 DUI, the 2016 life crime. He also had probably, in reality, 3,000 DUIs. He drank and drove every day or every night. And he admitted as much himself on page 39 of the transcript. 3,000 DUIs. He was dismissed from numerous jobs for substance abuse issues. Yet, you know, you can say there's a static factors, but, you know, if it happens again and again and again, it's not a static factor. It's a pattern. And that's what Mr. Short still doesn't realize. He at the hearing, he talked about, well, you know, my childhood trauma. He was 34 when he killed David Condell. 34. And he had all these prior contacts. And after the 2010 DUI, he did an 18-month treatment program for alcohol and DUI. And still, he came back and did this. He has other problems. The problems are relationships which are good or bad with girlfriends or whatever, relationships at work. He likes to drink. The job he's in, he likes to drink, or he's using cocaine. He did that as well. He had a party life.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
You bet, sir. Thanks. He has a family that protects him from the consequences of actions. This is someone who has a paucity of an understanding of why he did this crime. He is someone who's utterly unsuitable for parole.
California. This is
If you'd like to
California.
speak in opposition to Joseph Short and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Joseph Short, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Joseph Short?
Hey guys, I see that we hit
Is
100,000.
there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Joseph Short?
Thank you guys.
Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Joseph Short.
The next case is Michael Stevens, AG 2936, item number 42. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
We have a number of speakers in support. Our first is Parker Chamberlain. Parker, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Yeah.
Thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak today. I'm the co-executive director of Re-Evolution, a nonprofit that provides both in-prison and reentry programs for system-impacted individuals. I'm also myself formerly incarcerated, having served more than 20 years of an indeterminate sentence prior to paroling after a decision of this board in 2021. Speaking today in the heartiest possible support of Michael Stevens, whom I've known since 2017. At Valley State Prison, we worked together in the Occupational Mentorship Certification Program, OMCP. We lived together in Housing Unit D1. We celebrated successes together, and we mourned losses together. Since my parole, we've continued this friendship and professional collaboration through the various projects with which Re-Evolution is involved at BSP. Already, you have before you ample evidence of Michael's rehabilitation, the work he's done, and how that relates to his suitability for parole. Here, I want to acknowledge the governor's concerns related specifically to Mikey's relapse prevention plans and social supports. I've been a practicing substance abuse counselor since 2016, and since then I've earned a master's degree in social work with an emphasis in mental health and trauma. It's my professional opinion that Mikey's relapse prevention plans are comprehensive, evidence-based, and totally adequate. Through the relationships that Mikey has nurtured and developed during his incarceration, he will have access to a robust pro-social support system upon release. I will personally be available as a friend of Mikey, including picking him up on the day of parole to support him in navigating emotions, remaining accountable to his values, and continuing his promised process of making lifelong amends for the harm he caused. I speak at a lot of these en banc hearings, and I can say unequivocally that there is no one I know who is more worthy of your consideration for release from parole.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. I respectfully urge you to uphold the panel's parole grant, and I thank you for the work that you do.
This is a different guy.
Our next speaker is Barbara Van Sickle. Barbara, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good morning. I am Barbara Van Sickle, and I am honored to be Mr. Stevens' counsel for his parole suitability hearing. I say I'm honored because I have rarely, if ever, encountered anybody who approached this with the diligence, commitment to rehabilitation, meticulousness, and tenacity, particularly as regards his relapse prevention plans, not only in his parole approach, but in internalizing these plans. He is extraordinary, and he has walked the walk. And that walk, that commitment to rehabilitation, did not end on September 25th. In fact, 1 week ago, Mr. Stevens received a certificate for completion of a 52-week domestic violence class. Mr. Stevens has walked in sobriety since 2012. And as he says, page 75 to 78 of his transcript, he is grounded in remorse and living amends and believes he would not relapse because he cannot hand back that remorse. So it is essential, and he does, be aware of his triggers, respect the rules, watches his thinking, respects authority, and pays attention to all areas in his life in detail. He has allowed mentors, sponsors, and support into his life, which he says has been a significant change. But how do we know that plans are anything more than plans? In Mr. Stevens' case, he has been tested. He was asked by the deputy commissioner on page 80 if there was any specific thing that could lead to his relapse. And he said, perhaps the death of a family member. And in fact, he was sorely tested when his own father passed away. And no, Mr. Stevens.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
He did not relapse. He relied on his support system inside, and he has an equally, if not stronger, support system outside, work offers, housing, professionals that are prepared to support him. Thank you, and I ask that you affirm his grant of parole.
Our next speaker is Michael Dean Stevens. Michael, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Michael Dean Stevens, are you with us?
Michael, can you
We
hear
will
us?
circle back. Our next speaker is Jesse Scaccia. Jesse, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me and including me. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we're a society who believes in redemption, and there's an egregious false equivalency to believe that to honor the victims is to punish someone forever. We honor our victims with the lives that we live. If and when Mikey is freed, he will help save so many lives through the work he will do in the communities that he will exist in. I've seen the lives that he is changing and saving while incarcerated, and it will just be a multiplier effect when he is freed. So what better way to honor death than with lives saved? I'm a professor at Fresno State, and I've taught Mikey for 2 classes, 2 memoir classes. So I got to really read his life story and to see what happened to him as a childhood and how it led to his life crime, but then his beautiful redemption through education and through serving others. And so the cohort at Fresno State are the leaders of everyone incarcerated at Chowchilla, and Mikey was a leader among leaders, regularly making the president's list, and he's on track for grad school. And the research shows that those with a graduate degree have about a 0% chance of recidivism. And I have full confidence in his ability to make it into a grad program and to succeed. He will not let down his classmates. He will not let down his peers that he mentors. He will not let down the God that he so clearly believes in. I will put my name on the line in support of Mikey. He will have my phone number, and I will be there for him any time of day, any time of night, if he has any instinct to relapse. But I don't think that he'll need it. I think he'll need it to just grab lunch and be friends, because I have full faith and confidence that Mikey is redeemed and will be an amazing and beautiful member of our society going forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next speaker is Dustin Stevens. Dustin, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Dustin Stevens, and I'm Michael Stevens' brother. I want to be completely transparent. I did not know what would become of Michael once he was sent to prison. But today, I can say with absolute certainty that I'm incredibly proud of the man he has become and all that he's achieved. And Michael has always been the kind of person who, once he sets his mind to something, follows through with determination and purpose. He has chosen a path of giving back to the community, with a particular passion for making a difference in the lives of young people. When he speaks about his work, it is clear that he loves what he is doing and is deeply committed to his mission. His excitement for the future is undeniable. There is no doubt in my mind that Michael would do anything to protect what he has built, his accomplishments, his commitment to helping the youth, and most importantly, his freedom. Michael's family and I have stood by him throughout his incarceration and will continue to support him every step of the way. Michael is more than welcome to come live with me once he finishes his transitional housing period. I fully support the decision to grant Michael parole and respectfully ask the board to uphold the September 25th, 2024 parole grant. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next speaker is Charles Black. Charles, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you, and can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Charles Black, and I'm a real estate professional based in Beverly Hills. Beyond my work in real estate, I'm deeply committed to civic engagement. I serve in leadership roles with the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club of Beverly Hills, where I've worked to support programs that foster rehabilitation, including a grant to Re-Evolution, because we believe in the incredible work they do. But beyond my professional and civic background, I'm also someone who understands the lifelong journey of personal transformation. I've been sober for 15 years, and I know firsthand the challenges and dedication it takes to maintain long-term sobriety. I met Mikey Stevens 2 years ago during a visit to VSP with Re-Evolution for the Junior Mentors program. From the moment I walked in, Mikey stood out as a leader. He greeted me with a warm smile, a firm handshake, direct eye contact, and an openness that made it clear he was deeply invested in both personal growth and community. Over the years that I've watched him evolve, our conversations have centered around self-development, the latest books we're reading, and our individual paths to becoming the best possible versions of ourselves. Regarding any concerns about Mikey's past struggles, what I see today is a man who has taken full ownership of his past, who has demonstrated remarkable insight into the choices he once made, and who has built a foundation for a very different future. He has maintained sobriety for over a decade, and I have no doubt he will continue on that path. He is surrounded by a strong support network, and I'm proud to say that I intend to be part of that network as well, helping him not only maintain his sobriety, but also pursue his personal goals and dreams. Mikey has done the work and is ready for this next chapter. I respectfully ask that you uphold the September 25th grant of parole and allow him the opportunity to continue his rehabilitation outside. Thank you.
The next speaker is Eric Rodriguez. Eric, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Michael Stevens. My name is Eric Rodriguez, and I am the Southern California Regional Program Manager for Impact Justice based in Los Angeles. I met Mikey while incarcerated, serving a 15-year-to-life sentence at a self-help program in 2017. Soon after that, we became roommates as we were accepted into the Occupational Mentor Certification Program, where we got trained and became substance use disorder certified counselors. Mike's keen awareness and insight into substance abuse and relapse not only supported me in creating my plans as I was going through this process of being found suitable, but he also demonstrated as he would share about himself and use his coping skills when managing difficult conversations with other roommates, peers on the yard, and then also among staff. He was always, I've always had the unique experience to see him like literally as he wakes up in the morning, reads, studies, goes to chow, work with him throughout the day, facilitate with him in youth diversion programs, and really model his living amends to support youth and diverting and support to divert them from the path that they were currently on. Having successfully navigated reentry myself, I've built a wealth of community relationships and resources here in Los Angeles that will be made immediately available to Mike upon his release. I also intend to pick him up the day of his release and bring him down personally to Los Angeles, where I will connect him with all the resources available to support him in his reentry. I know that Michael has spent hours, days, and years living out his amends to the people that he's harmed and ultimately to give back to the community that he once took advantage of. And I just clearly asked the board to uphold his suitability. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Michael Stevens and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Michael Stevens, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would want to speak in support of Michael Stevens? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Michael Stevens.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Michael Stevens.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Michael Stevens and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Michael Stevens, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken and wants to speak in opposition to Michael Stevens? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Michael Stevens? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Michael Stevens.
The next case is Rafael Tovar, CDCR number AX3776, item number 43. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Julia Hamilton. Julia, your two. Yes, we can hear you. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on Mr. Tovar's behalf. I'm a social worker at the Alameda County Public Defender's Office, and I've gotten to know Mr. Tovar quite well over the past few years. He has a great deal of insight into his own complex and very significant childhood trauma and his negative decision-making and the way that he grew up and how it influenced the person he became. And he's worked very hard to thoroughly address his personal deficits. My observation is that he has internalized the life-changing aspects of programming offered by CDCR more than any client I've ever worked with. He has become an empathetic, thoughtful, sensitive, and humble person who embraces vulnerability in himself and others. When he talks about his crime, he often becomes very emotional and even tearful because he lives with the gravity of having taken a life, and he thinks about the impact of his actions every day. He's committed himself to demonstrating remorse through acts of service, through his participation in the rigorous offender mentor certification program, and his work as a drug and alcohol counselor while incarcerated, which is a career I know he plans to continue once released. His prison record has been exemplary. He talks about how his heart transformation began when he was sentenced and he witnessed the impact of his crime on the victim's family. He committed himself to nonviolence at that time, and he has never had a significant rule violation, which I believe is evidence of his long-term commitment to rehabilitation. He has a solid reentry plan, very comprehensive relapse and violence prevention plans. He has a strong support system of friends and family, including his daughter.
Please conclude your statement.
Including a daughter that he is very devoted to, and I just urge you to affirm the board's earlier decision. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Joshua Phillips. Joshua, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Joshua Phillips, and I'm here in support of my godbrother and best friend, Rafael Tovar, who is also the living father of my goddaughter, Patty Tovar. My sincere gratitude to the Honorable Board of Judicial Officers attending for letting me be heard as part of your considerations and this major milestone and critical moment for Rafael and his family. Rafael and I have been best friends since we met in 3rd grade. My parents baptized Rafael's youngest sister, making us godbrothers. I'm a twice deployed and decorated combat veteran, honorably discharged Staff Sergeant United States Marines, having served a combined 14 years at Special.
Joshua, you've been muted.
What the what? Why did he get muted for?
We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I was muted, sir. I now have full sole custody of my youngest 6 kids, who I raise on my own while working remote full time from home in a very successful corporate career. Raphael's insight and understanding, as well as his social behavior throughout his incarceration, clearly demonstrates the man he is today. Raphael was found suitable because the evidence reflects that he is no longer a risk to the public, and he no longer has the corrupted mentality that he chose to adopt at the time, along with other contributing circumstances in which we were taught how to survive in and around an unforgiving environment. He really dug deep to bring it all out and wash himself of that antisocial mentality and violent nature. The Raphael I know today, after 36 years, fully embraces and demonstrates the ability and desire to be the best version of himself. Doing so in the memory of and for Justice Sofoa, as Raphael has chosen to honor both their lives moving forward in this way. Reuniting Raphael with his daughter and becoming active in her life again will be steadfast in preventing and avoiding Raphael from recidivating. This cannot be overstated. When I told Raphael that his stepfather had molested Patty, Raphael's first response was profound, and that he did not want retaliation or street justice. He made the decision to pursue justice for our Patty by trusting in the law and the judicial system. Raphael's release also saves Patty from the same environment he was brought up in. I will be waiting for him at the prison exit to transport him safely to the housing facility and make sure he has whatever is needed to succeed in his transition, including help with logistics until he can fully support himself. I've already started putting cash aside for him so he will have basic needs met with his own money on hand, and I'm putting $500 aside for him monthly and will be able to help
Your
with
2
other
minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
expenses. I'll remain a part of his support network and an accountability buddy to help him navigate any challenges or triggers that arise. If Raphael is given permission to live with me in Placer County, I will always have a place for him to stay. Respectfully submitted, Joshua Phillips. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Raphael Tovar and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Raphael Tovar, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Raphael Tovar? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Raphael Tovar.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Raphael Tovar.
He unalived the football
If you
player.
would like to speak in opposition to Raphael Tovar and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak.
A football player from a high school in Norwalk.
If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Raphael Tovar, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
Back in 2010.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Raphael Tovar? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Raphael Tovar? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Raphael Tovar.
Thank you. The last case today is Ralph Wu, CDCR number T58892, item number 44. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Commissioner Long, I'm sorry. Someone had their hand up for the Stevens case, which we went past. So we're going to go back to the Stevens case for a comment in opposition.
Our hand raised is for Julianne Walker. Julianne, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you. I apologize for not getting my voice up quickly enough on that case. With respect to Mr. Stevens, on behalf of the District Attorney's Office of Los Angeles, it does appear he has quite a bit of support. He has done a ton of education and programming. The concern with from our office, and in particular from the decedent's mother, Cynthia Pipho, and I believe that's, I may be pronouncing it wrong, but it's Pipho, is truly the horrible nature of this crime and the up close and personal stabbing of her son and then attacking another man and running them both over with a car. It just honestly is so insanely brutal. And I think the pain was evident at not this past hearing, because neither the DA's office from Los Angeles nor the victim's mother made it for that one, but the one before. It was very upsetting, to even on paper, not having been there. So I think that's something that needs to be kept. I know it's a static factor. I know no amount will change that, but it is such a big crime that it really does require big rehabilitation and long-term pro-social. So we would submit, of course, to the panel on that, whether or not the governor's concerns are met with respect to sufficient the people would agree he's done quite a bit, but quite a bit is needed given the nature of this crime. Thank you.
We will continue on to the case of Ralph Wu. If you would like to speak in support of Ralph Wu and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak.
Kiana Moran?
Yes, please go ahead. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Yes, I want to talk in support of Ralph Wu. It's actually crazy that he's been in jail for this long, like for aiding and abetting. He just was around the wrong people, but it's people in jail for like really doing stuff. You can't say like he really ever did nothing like nasty and and has like a victim to something that he's done. We talk to him all the time. He be running to talk to the babies. He be wanting to be with the family. I know it's other people who their family's waiting for them, but I don't think it's more people waiting than we waiting for him. 17 years is crazy. Like he's gonna be around the right people because he got 25 first cousins, and ain't none of them in jail. He got a grandma that's 89.
89.
That's ready to see him.
Damn.
And that's where he's gonna be. He's gonna be sitting up with grandma.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be like, "Hey, where can we take these kids?" It's no question about it. He stays more positive than people out here. We dealing with little stuff, and like he's still so positive. Like it's just crazy. I'm like, he having a good day.
Good day.
And I'm sure the people that are in there with him every day, like they can attest that, like, oh yeah, this dude be positive.
Positive.
It ain't no victim to his crimes. Like he done killed somebody or he done hit somebody. People be hitting people. They be doing all types of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy that we done lost him for all these years off aiding and abetting, which is basically a charge saying you was there. Like, yeah, he was with the wrong people, but he don't do the wrong stuff. Like,
nope, he didn't do the wrong stuff. He's doing the right stuff, baby.
There's a lot of things with his case. A change of venue. It's a lot of stuff that didn't add up. We got co-defendants. Everybody in that case is out, and these are people who took action. So it doesn't make sense that he is there and his family is
Your
waiting.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
All right, his family is ready to love him, and we're ready for him to come home. We got a lot of love to come home to.
If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Ralph Wu, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
Ralph Wu. I can't find nothing on.
Is there anyone else who's not spoken who wants to speak in support of Ralph Wu?
Where the hell is Ralph Wu at?
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Ralph Wu.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Ralph Wu.
Is anybody?
I see Julianne Walker's hand raised. Julianne, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
You couldn't hear me. Can you hear me? I'm LaDonna Trimble. I'm in support of Ralph Wu.
Oh, the DA for LA.
Yes, go ahead. We will continue with in support of Ralph Wu. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
She's gonna spill the tea.
Hi, my name is LaDonna Trimble. I'm the aunt of Ralph Wu. I am in support of Ralph Wu. Ralph has a family that loves him. He's in constant communication with us. He has participated in the programming that is available in the prison through education and dog training. I am a retired educator that supported the prison program, was responsible for enrolling hundreds of students, probably thousands of students through graduation. I believe in education. I believe in opportunity. I believe that Ralph Wu is a great candidate for release and an opportunity to return to a community and contribute in a positive way. I will definitely make sure that he is enrolled in a program. Community colleges have opportunities where they provide support through counseling and monetary support for inmates that are released from prison, and to help them go back to the community in a positive way. In terms of his family, his cousin has just mentioned, our family is supportive of Ralph. We support him financially. We want him home.
Oh, carjacking.
We provide him with
What
the
the what?
resources that he needs
Oh,
to succeed.
snap.
We will continue to look for mentors and programs to facilitate his success. We believe in him and what he has learned while in prison, and we expect that he will be able to come out and continue to positively impact the people that are around him, which he has done in prison, which he does even while in prison with the family in terms of any opportunity that we have to speak with him.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Do you guys remember Jason?
Thank you for the opportunity to give my opinion, and have a good day.
So Ralph Wu was the crimey of.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Ralph Wu?
Of Jason that had he had his hearing a little bit earlier on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello. My name is Stephen Small, and I am a spiritual practitioner. I am Ralph's uncle, and I've known Ralph for his entire life. And growing up, Ralph was within the family. He was a really beautiful soul. As you know, peer pressure sometimes can just get the best of you. And having spent 17 years around those same peers that perhaps negatively influenced him, I think that he has learned to look within himself. And having spoken with him, over the years since he's been incarcerated, I've seen a high level of maturity. I've seen where he knows himself. And in knowing himself, he's discovered love, and he's discovered, truth, and he's discovered a sense of, justice, a sense of balance and harmony with himself. And so I think he's beyond that point of being led astray, so to speak. He's a really beautiful person. I'm sure the people he's done time with appreciate him and will miss him upon his release. And so the family here, his cousins, he's been in contact with everybody throughout the whole time, and everybody really enjoys speaking with him, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Easter, whether it's his birthday, whether it's whatever the holiday is, and in between. And so I salute you, the board, for the work that you're doing. And so it is my prayer that you would find it in your hearts to really review his case.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
And let him come home. Thank you again. I salute you in the work you're doing.
Wu had 3 prior convictions, so this wasn't his first case.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Ralph Wu?
So that's
Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Ralph Wu.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Ralph Wu.
The DA. Here
Our
comes
first
the TA.
speaker is Julianne Walker. Julianne, you may begin speaking.
Thank you. On behalf of LA County District Attorney's Office, we submit that Mr. Wu's change is simply too recent in time, and there needs to be a longer period of pro-social rehabilitation. And that's because he's had 9 RVRs in the time period of 2016 to 2020.
Rule violations.
Violence, cell phones, disobeying orders, and refusal to do a UA. By his own admission, and yes, he should be given credit for that, but by his own admission, he engaged in restitution and EDD fraud in that time frame that he said he was turning his life around. He said he was doing it. There are different times within the transcript, but we've got 2018 to 2022, and then he says 2020. Unfortunately, this is not discussed that I could find. I went through it several times to look in the CRA. So the CRA clinician didn't know about that. The CRA clinician says, well, he was been pro-social since 2020. Well, not if he engaged in EDD fraud in 2022. Also, none of this the relapse plan or the accountability statement that he made, that's referred to in the grant transcript, apparently came in, didn't make the 10-day packet.
Thank you.
I don't think Defense Counsel even had it, and there's really no discussion about it in the transcript. So given that, this needs to be looked at more closely. It's an improvident grant to not look at it, because one of the things I'd like to point out is this self-disclosure might have been because his crime partner, Jason Batchelor, who we heard yesterday, who was found to have engaged in EDD fraud, his grant was rescinded because of it in that same time frame. So I'm sure Mr. Wu figured out he better do it too. So I'm not really sure that he's...
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. He is not engaged in sufficient pro-social behavior, because it would appear he was doing the same type of gang conduct, criminal thinking, rule violations, and truly the restitution one, as our esteemed colleague Connie Lasky said yesterday, is really improper.
Ms. Walker, your time is up. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
If you'd like to speak in opposition to Ralph Wu and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak.
Hey, imagine that DA showed up.
If you want to speak in opposition to Ralph Wu, please unmute yourself by pressing *6.
She would show back up, but she would have like a wig on or something to disguise herself. Maybe
is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Ralph Wu? Is there anyone who has not spoken to speak about Ralph Wu? Chairperson, there are no more speakers.
I'm here.
To say something with respect to number 30, Judge Roberts, T59722. And with respect to that, again, it kind of segues into what I was just saying in the last case, is there is evidence of restitution avoidance here that indicates a lack of true rehabilitation, pro-social rehabilitation, criminal thinking, and warrants rescission and consideration in depth of that violation. So we ask that this be rescinded. Thank you.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support or opposition to any case on today's agenda? If you're on video, please raise your hand using the raise hand button. If participating by telephone, unmute yourself and identify yourself. There are no more speakers for today's cases.
Thank you, moderator. Does any board member wish to request an agenda item for a future meeting? Hearing none, we will now hear comments from the public regarding general matters related to the board. We are not taking comments on cases right now. Comments concerning future parole hearings are not permitted during this meeting. Please send those comments to the board for inclusion in the materials for that hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes, and there is no opportunity for rebuttal. Please wait to speak until we call your name or identify you by your login information. Moderator, please call for speakers seeking to make a general comment related to the board.
Our first speaker is Vanessa Nelson Sloan.
Thank you. At the risk of triggering some DAs and possibly some commissioners, I'm going to harp again on the restitution avoidance issue as an indicator of dangerousness, because frankly, there's no there. As all parties agree, the system has been rolling along merrily for decades, ignored, if not tacitly encouraged by custody staff and the rest of CDCR, while literally thousands of lifers who've been party to this practice at one time or another have been released, discharged from parole, gone on with their lives, and even passed away. And there has not been any evidence of any crime, danger, or event connected with their past restitution avoidance issues. We could go on for days, but I won't, about the reasons individuals may participate in this dance, but there are a few undeniables. The law promises equal protection, that everyone will be treated the same, crimes will be punished in the same manner, and everyone will clearly know what is okay and what isn't. And that is not the case for restitution avoidance as the sole or even primary reason for denial of parole. We're polling the paroled lifer population right now as to who, while incarcerated, was party to the restitution circumvention system, and the numbers are pretty impressive, actually. And yet, the recidivism rate has not been negatively impacted. Those who owe restitution are still paying it after they're released. As I noted last month, the legislature certainly was unfazed by their decision to wipe out indirect fees imposed longer than 10 years ago. What does seem to be impacted, however, is the grant rate for parole. We just received preliminary figures for the entirety of 2024, and the grant rate is, surprise, down. In 2023, the overall grant rate was 35%. In 2024, it looks like it will be 31%. More telling is the difference between the grant rate in January 2023, 2024, and 2025. January 2023, the grant rate was 35%. It was 42% in 2024, and last month it was a paltry 24%. This, to me and to many other attorneys, appears to be circumvention of parole via restitution and something the board should not be participating in. We'll be in touch.
The next speaker is Steve Carpati.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Steve Carpati, and I was granted parole last September. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be here today. I would like to thank all of the commissioners for the time you've spent and the pains that you go through making decisions that change so many people's life. I know your jobs are very difficult, and you take them very serious because of the importance which it entails. I would especially like to thank Commissioner Barton. His advice impacted me so much in a very positive way. He challenged me to dig deep into myself and not only understand who I was, but who I wanted to become. Without his encouragement, I don't think I could have gotten that insight so easily. And to Commissioner Long for believing in me and having faith in the person that I am today. His words validated my accomplishments, and it made me feel like there's nothing that I cannot do. Again, everything you guys do is very honorable, and I thank you very much for everything. Thank you.
If you would like to speak, if you'd like to make a general comment and are on video, please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams, and we'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. To make a general comment by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
So anybody that's curious, I'm running both streams.
Looks like we have
both accounts right now.
Person in person that would like to make a general comment.
Good afternoon again, commissioners. My name is Antonio Calles. Since my last coming here last month, I am happy to say that I finally moved out from the transition house, got a cabin in Camino. I'm loving it. I'm up here today right now because there's been a new development in my life since then. Bittersweet. During my stay in prison, I started to learn about restorative justice from Billy Mothershed and John Robb, inmates at Solano State Prison. I started looking into it. I was grieved by the thought that my victim's family was going through what they're going through, according to studies done by restorative justice advocates. In Folsom State Prison, I came in contact with two inmates who were members of the Gallo Club that I was in, Jermichael Cooley and Juan Montoya.
Gracias.
They were greatly affected by restorative justice counselors and what they call surrogate victims who came in and spoke to them. Their lives changed almost on a dime.
What up?
I wanted that for myself, and I wanted that for my victims because I heard how the victims in those instances were greatly impacted by the restorative justice model. We wanted to present some policy ideas, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about that because
time's over.
I want your support. We want your support in making victims of violent crime and people affected by violent crime who rightfully feel the pain and trauma as a result of that. I'm a murderer. I kill somebody. I know the pain that I caused.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
But it doesn't have to end right there for people affected by violent crime. And I hope that at some point I can get the commissioners to hear some of our ideas. I did bring them this time, Ms. Garner. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to make a general comment? Chairperson, there are no more speakers.
Thank you, moderator. On behalf of my colleagues, I wish to thank everybody for participating today. We will recess the open session of the February Executive Board meeting at this time. We will return briefly following closed session to adjourn today's meeting.
All right, so that guy that just spoke right now, he was a formerly incarcerated individual. I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but he said he mentioned that he unalived somebody, but now he's helping to help reform within the California prison system or board of parole system. I know you guys want to know what the outcome of these cases are going to be. Unfortunately, they don't let us know right now. But fortunately, they'll let us know today. It's not like other states that they make you wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. We're going to know today. We should know about maybe I would say like 5 or 6 today. They'll release a statement letting us know if they're going to get denied or if they're going to get approved. And once that information is put out, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start up a stream. And if you're able to catch it, then I'll provide you guys with that information. If you're not able to catch that stream, I'll go ahead and make like a community post so you guys can know. I'll put pictures of the information and let you guys know if anybody got denied or who got approved or whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. Let me see here. Do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna go ahead and cut it because I need a break. I've been sitting here. How long have I been sitting here? I've been sitting here longer than I cared to. How many hours is it? Damn, I've been here for 4 hours. My butt hurts. So if there isn't any questions like the board of parole, hey, you're welcome, Chacha. Hey, no, thank you guys too. For those of you guys that are new here and that you guys hit the follow, I highly appreciate you. Remember, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you've been, if the stream keeps on coming up on your FYP, it's because you're interested in, the stuff we talk about, whether it's parole board hearings, phone calls from prison, interviews, or whatever, If you are here and you're already following, I would appreciate it if you guys tap the screen whenever I'm live. I do appreciate it. I know today we hit over 100,000 taps on the screen, so really appreciate that. So shout out to you guys if you guys were tapping. Shout out to you guys that were watching, and shout out to you guys that were participating in the chat. And shout out also to if you weren't participating in anything, if you're just a lurker, I appreciate you nonetheless. You see, thanks for sharing with us. You're definitely welcome. If you guys want to continue watching some board of parole hearings, I do have a live feed going on YouTube at CollectCallFrom. Thank you, sir. Your 2 minutes are up. That's it. I guess I'll just cut the stream. But yeah. So if you guys like watching this type of content, I always have streams going on YouTube. If you go to @CollectCallFrom, I run them daily. I do board of parole hearings in Utah and Connecticut for sure. That's mostly guaranteed. And then I also have the court hearings from Maricopa County and Pima County. And sometimes we'll do some live interviews with incarcerated individuals. Paco Taco, thank you, appreciate that. Lurking is a crime. Let me see. Thank you for the stream. And hopefully if you guys have some incarcerated individuals, this gives a peek inside of what it takes to come out of prison. For me personally, when I hear some of these stories, they definitely raise my blood pressure, especially when it comes to how can I put it, those activities when when there's people hurting children and women and taking advantage of those that can't defend themselves. Those are definitely raised my blood pressure. And today we definitely heard 2 cases of those, and man, they were of the worst nature, if you will. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. I do appreciate you guys. Wood chipper cases. That's right, Ostrich. Hell yeah. My cousin is doing time in Corcoran State Prison. My homie's up there right now. He's in Corcoran. He has another. We're in 2025. He'll be out in 3 years. He's already. By the time he gets out, he's gonna be in prison 20 years. And you know what? Time to relax. And with my buddy, he committed a robbery that should have carried 3 years in prison. But unfortunately for him, he had already been to prison before and to CYA. He had a strike, so those 3 years. What is the YouTube? It's at CollectCallFrom, at CollectCallFrom. Just put the little A, and then CollectCallFrom. It's all together, no spaces. Or you could also just go to my profile, and all the social media links are there. Or you could just type in at CollectCallFrom on Google, and everything will come up. You can't miss it. Just look for the female Brocha, and you're in the right place. Hey, you're welcome. I really appreciate you. 4449. So yeah, so my buddy, he got he went to prison for a robbery. It should have been a 3-year sentence, but he had been to prison before and he had a strike, so they doubled up his time to 6 years, and then since he had been to prison and NYA, they gave him 2 years on top of that. They gave him a 10-year gun enhancement that brought him up to what was it? Thank you. I think he had an 18-year sentence on something that would have carried 3 years. So I'm definitely familiar with the type of activities these people pull on you if you allow them to, if you become part of that system. Let me see. Outstanding job as usual, James. Go get some lunch and chillax. Yeah, I'll be back. As a matter of fact, I gotta go ahead and start up the Maricopa stream on YT. Anyhow, hey, I am Collect Call James. You are watching. You have a Collect Call From, and like I said right here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we're out. And also remember, if you don't hear the water dropping, drop one, flush one, then you're not watching. You have a Collect Call From, and you're watching an imposter. All right. And with that, I am really out. A rato.